Sip some coffee. Sip some coffee and wait and wait and wait and wait. Today we are talking horror movies and books. We're giving out bespoke recommendations to anyone who would like to speak up, say what kind of movies they like. We are here to promote Clan in the Cornfield 3, The Church of Frendo, coming out next week. Do you have your whatchamacallits in? Your pre-orders in? All right. Let's hear some I like this kind of horror movies so we can recommend you some stuff. Or I could just start going through the stuff that's on my desk. Because I've got lots of stuff on my desk. I not only have my books, I have my books in French. Un clan das un champ de mai. It's Clan of the Cornfield in French. I know my accent sounded a little bit German there. I'm currently reading the first book. Thank you, Gabby. Did I say it wrong? Tatum Byer says, "Hi, Adam. Congratulations on your slasher trilogy." Yeah, it was. I'm holding up another slasher here. I'm holding up Heads Will Roll. This is by Josh Whitting. This just came out. And this is Clan of the Cornfield 3, The Church of Frendo. Tatum, you've got yours pre-ordered, right? Oh boy. Oh, very nice. Yes, this is the hardcover edition. Most people don't have this yet because it's not out until next week. Let me check comments we have going here. Tatum says, "Of course, thank you so much." How do I like? Can I like comments or something? No, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, so let's get it going. Let's talk about movies. I just watched When Evil Lurks by Damien Rugna. This is on Shudder. It's the hype around it, the buzz around it was how extreme it is and how dark it is and how crazy it is. And I think it is all those things. Damien Rugna, his last film was Terrified, not Terrifier, not Art the Clown. Terrified. He's an Argentinian director. He his thing is doing like very extreme, very like novel riffs on established genres. He did I think with Terrified, it's basically like, well, what if a haunted house was like turned to 11 and it was like a haunted several houses? And then in When Evil Lurks, it's possession. It's possession story, kind of as if possession was like a contagion, was like a zombie thing. It's great. It's really, really fun. It's really mean. But it also has bits of humor in it, I think. Hello, everyone. Hello, chat. Ask me about horror movies. Ask me about horror books, because I'm trying to sell you this one right here. You cannot read this without having read the first two, though. I mean, I guess you could. You'd just be very, very confused. I was texting a little earlier with Clay McLeod Chapman, who's going to be one of the authors doing an In Conversation on tour with me. And he was very shocked at something that happened towards the end of this book. And I was very excited to get that text because I was like, oh, man, it upset someone. It upset someone I know personally. So we got questions coming in. We're going to go from here, then we're going to go from here. Do you know when number 3 will get a paperback release? I actually don't. Jesse, the SOE geek, asked. It is just common practice for hardcovers to come out first. They usually come out about a year. After the hardcover release. Paperback probably, I'm guessing by Halloween next year it'll be out. Book Horror and Other Terrors asked, have you seen Cuckoo? Yeah, I saw Cuckoo. I saw Cuckoo a week and a half ago. I saw it at a promotional screening. There wasn't really a promotional screening because usually promotional screenings you don't pay for, but we bought a ticket. My buddy Scott Cole and I, we saw it with our friend Matt Garrett, who's a director. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's I had said in my review that I think Cuckoo is one of those movies where 90% of the fun is trying to guess what kind of movie Cuckoo will end up being by the time you get to the third act. And I really think your mileage is going to vary once you get to that third act. Once the reveal of like what is this thing that is fighting slash stalking them. Um, it's really great. Hunter Shaver's really good. Dan Stevens has done a bunch of movies lately where he just does a silly voice, and he's a little goofy and big. And I think this is the best one of those. He has a German accent in this, and he's very, very, very enjoyable. Over here we got Tony asks favorite werewolf films. Ginger Snaps. Let's get some stuff to hold up. We'll hold up. We'll hold up two. We'll hold up. Ginger Snaps, for sure, as far as werewolf movies go. One of my favorite movies of the 2000s, because I am kind of one of those fuddy-duddy guys that watches mostly movies from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But Ginger Snaps in the 2000s especially, I really like the sequels too. And this is the Second Sight dope trilogy edition of those. I think this is actually region B. So don't go be like, oh, I want the thing that Adam has, the Ginger Snap set that Adam has. If you can't play it, you need a region free player to play that. Or you need or if you're British, you're fine. You can play it. And The Howling, probably my number one favorite werewolf movie, maybe beyond the Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman. I think The Howling is so freaking good. It's really a cut above. Let's go. I'm missing such questions. I'm missing so many questions. I'm really bad at this because all my answers are very long. Over here we have you read Blood Meridian? I'm excited and terrified for the upcoming film it's getting. I think with a lot of literary classics and a lot of books that are not written entirely filmically, I think adaptation is a tricky proposition. I think Cormac McCarthy's gotten adapted well once, so it might happen again. Oh, actually twice. I really love All the Pretty Horses too. So who's to say it won't be good? I bet it'll be good. Clown in the Cornfield is one of my favorite books, says Maria. Thank you, Maria. Clown in the Cornfield. You got to get the sequel, and then you got to get the threequel for sure. Clown in the Cornfield 3. This is the best one. I'm not kidding. I'm not being like pure sales patter. Lincoln Sword is excited to read the third volume of your clown books. Link's one of my oldest online friends. Thank you, Link. Let's find another. Have you seen When Animals Dream? Yes, I have. I don't even remember when it was like a magnet release. I saw it when it came out on Blu-ray, I believe. I enjoyed it. What is your favorite animal attacks film? Just watched Orca last night. Orca's a good one. Oh boy, do I love animal attack movies. Are my favorite one, if you can call it what is my favorite When Animal Attacks movie? My favorite one, easily, hands down, is Willard. My favorite When Animal Attacks movie. If you can call Willard a When Animal Attacks movie. I've even got I've got a signed picture of Bruce Davison above my desk, and it says, "Adam, tear him up." So that's Willard's my favorite. And if you don't want to count this as a When Animal Attacks movies, because it's kind of like a disassociated loner movie. He just happens to have animals attacking people. So if you don't count that, what I would say is Grizzly, which it doesn't seem like it's a favorite movie because this is actually wrapped, but this was a double dip. This is the Severin edition of Grizzly, which I haven't even cracked the plastic on. I think my last edition of Grizzly was did Code Red do one? I think Code Red did one. So I own multiple Blu-ray editions of Grizzly. So if that gives you an idea of that is a favorite. Oh boy. We've got way too many comments here. Any talks on making Clown in the Cornfield into a film adaptation? That would be awesome. Yes, there's more than talks. They've done it. It is in the can. I'm not really allowed to talk about it. I'm not really. It's not really like great for me to talk about it because you usually want to talk about a movie when you have like something to promote or like a date and when it's coming out. But I can say that much. I can say that they made a movie of the first Clown in the Cornfield. It was made by um, Eli Craig is the director. If you've seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil, he's great. He's kind of the perfect person for the job. I got to talk with him a little bit. I got to go up to set, got to meet him. Great guy. He's going to do a great job with the movie. I haven't seen the movie yet. I've only seen little bits and pieces. But even that, I probably shouldn't talk about too much. But yeah, it's getting a film adaptation. And hey, if the film adaptation is a success, maybe they'll do 2 and 3 as well. We have a summer job question. We got someone asking about my book, The Summer Job, which I haven't thought about or talked about in a long time. But if you want some folk horror, which my first folk horror book, my latest folk horror book, which seems weird because Clown in the Cornfield, the first two are so clearly slashers. But I love folk horror, and I wanted to infuse a little of that flavor here. Why were the two factions beefing in The Summer Job? They are two slightly different takes on the same religion. The history is full of that. That's all. That's like most of religious history is slightly different religious sect trying to outpace another one. That's what this book is. It is a Satanist high religion, low religion war. Aaron says that's amazing news. Scooter says mine's pre-ordered. Hell yeah, Scooter. Thank you so much. If you want to pre-order this book, I've got links in my bio, in my description, to a website that you can go on Amazon. That's fine. Go get it at Barnes & Noble. You can go. But if you want to shop indie, if you want to support indie stores that are supporting me, I'm doing a tour. Starting on the 20th, the day the book's released. I'm going to Chicago, Houston, Boston, Brooklyn, and then back kind of close to back home at Doylestown Bookshop in PA. If you want to go, if those are anywhere near you, go find out. The dates are on my website. Come see me, and we'll hang out. If those dates are not near you and you still want a signed copy of this through the mail, my friends at Children's Book World, which is a local bookstore here in PA, very close to me in Haverford, they ship these through the mail. I go in once a week and I sign a stack of books, and I spell everyone's name right. I really spell everyone's name right. I sign a bunch of books, and we mail them out that week. So same thing with Clown in the Cornfield 3. I'm going in this week. I'm going to sign about 200 copies of this book. I'm going to bring ice to ice my elbow, ice my arm. We're going to send out like 200 copies of this signed and personalized. If you want to be in that initial batch, if you want to be in that first mail out, go order it from Children's Book World right now. Link in my description, link in my bio. I cannot wait for the third book. This series has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, William. I'm gonna stop hyping this. I'm gonna ask or I'm gonna answer a like movie related question. We'll do another movie recommendation before I keep hyping stuff. Pre-ordered the audiobook just like the previous two. Congrats on your success. Thank you so much, Marty. Just saw Grizzly and going to see Willard. I'm doing an Animal Attacks August watchathon. Currently doing the whole Jaws franchise. You should. Ashley says she's doing a Jaws watchathon. She's doing a Jaws franchise watch. There is one movie that you may not be counting as an official Jaws movie, but I think you should consider it because you haven't seen Jaws 5, have you? You're asking about Jaws 5. You're like, wait a second, there is no Jaws 5. Jaws 5 isn't a real movie. You're kind of right. Jaws 5, Cruel Jaws. It's an Italian mockbuster, an Italian Jaws ripoff that it was released in some places as Jaws 5, Cruel Jaws. It is ridiculous. It is one of the most insane B movies you've ever seen. Definitely, Ashley, add Cruel Jaws when you're all the way done. After you suffer through Jaws the Revenge, which is I'm an absolute huge fan of Michael Caine, maybe his worst movie. But you should watch Cruel Jaws as a kind of palate cleanser. All right, let's keep it going. Let's do one more. Let's do one more recommendation, then I'll pause to. Hello from Russia. I've read both chapters and looking forward to reading the third one. I'm a big fan. Thank you so much, Manya. Is it Manya? Am I saying that right? Thank you. I'm seeing if I'm so excited. Great director. I assume you're talking about Eli Craig directing the Clown in the Cornfield movie. Gonna be great. Have you seen Longlegs or Blackcoat's Daughter? Thoughts? Thoughts. My thoughts are all positive. I love Oz Perkins. You left it, Marty. It's interesting that you left out. I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, because that's actually, I think Longlegs is probably my favorite one of his movies. But before Longlegs, my favorite was I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. That was a Netflix original or a Netflix exclusive, so it doesn't have a Blu-ray, so I can't go grab it off my shelf, which is annoying because I love that movie a lot. Yeah, but Longlegs is probably the next on my list favorite. God, I got weird glare on my face. I just got out of the shower, so I'm a little fresh. So those are my thoughts on Osgood Perkins. The only one of his films that I'm not 100% sold on is that Hansel and Gretel one he did. And you look at that one and you look at like the fact that it wasn't written by him. It's the only movie in his oeuvre that wasn't written by him. The only movie in his filmography he didn't write. It kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. I have only seen it once. I saw it in the theaters and I was just like, I was a little bit bummed because I had loved his other two movies so much. Link says Jaws 5 and Mako Jaws of Death are two of my favorite not Jaws shark movies. Good times. Yeah, add to that Tintoria, the tiger shark movie from Italy. It's a pretty good one too. It's a little rough though, that one. That one's like a little mean to the sharks. Aaron asked, have you seen Cuckoo? I thought it was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I started telling this story earlier in the stream, and then I kind of lost my train of thought, as I want to do. But I saw it in an early screening, and they showed it in 35 millimeter. Neon's been doing these things. They did it for Longlegs too, where they made like 4 or 5 35 millimeter prints. Most of the movies you go see are digital projection, and then they screened them early to kind of build hype. So it was such a nice experience seeing that with a large receptive audience who was excited to see Cuckoo. And just to hear the projector going and seeing film and seeing cigarette burns, it was just nice. It was a nice way of seeing it. Do you think this is a slight spoiler for video night? Oh man, my video night copy must be somewhere. Oh, it's under here. This is a slight spoiler for the book Video Night, but Josh Fitzgerald asked, do I think the characters have a happy ending? The characters who survive in this book are kind of left in an ambiguous ending. They have almost like The Thing type ending where the world is maybe a little different than when the book started. And do they have a happy ending? I guess for the most part, I think so. I get asked all the time. I used to get asked a lot before the Clown in the Cornfield books if I would ever write a sequel to this. And before the Clown in the Cornfield books, I was kind of not interested. I was kind of like, I don't really like sequels. I don't write sequels. And now I've got the bug. Now clearly I love writing sequels, and you kind of can't stop me from writing sequels. So I think about that all the time. And I don't really have a clear answer for you, Josh, because I think what I would do is it would be called City Night. The sequel to Video Night would be called City Night, and would be them moving from Long Island into Manhattan for whatever reason. They have a plot reason to go to Manhattan. And that would be the basis for the sequel to Video Night. So I don't know. I don't know. I keep that open in my mind. I cannot freaking wait. Just reread the first two to be ready. Also read Video Night recently. MD6784 says. Ashley says Video Night was great. So if you've read through all the Clown in the Cornfield books, and in this 9 days before Clown in the Cornfield comes out, if you're like, I need to read another Adam Caesar book, Ashley and MD say you should read this one. Oh man, we were having a good time. Someone asked me for some recommendations. I think I saw it. Did Aaron Dries come in here? Is Aaron Dries in here? Or is he just like, hey, Adam, if you write City Night, I'm so there. It's Aaron Dries, everybody, all the way from Australia. Are you in Australia right now, Aaron? I know you bop around a little bit. If you have not read Aaron Dries' books, please do so. They are spectacular. And we were just talking about Damien Rugna movies a little bit before, and the idea that they are so super bleak, or at least they have this reputation as being super bleak. Those movies aren't bleak. You want bleak? Read an Aaron Dries book. He'll get you. I have all my like friends' books downstairs on a different bookshelf. I don't think I have any. I think I have any Aaron Dries books to hold up in front of me. But he's great. He's the best. One of my best friends. Yeah, I have best friends who's an Australian. Isn't that cool? I pre-ordered signed copies of Church of Frendo for my niece and I. We cannot wait. Thank you so much, Zach. That is like, I get a little emotional when I talk about it because it's so cool. It's such a neat thing that I get to write. If you haven't heard, these books are for teens. These books are written expressly for a teenage audience, for a YA audience, but adults can read them, and adults should read them, and adults enjoy them too. The coolest thing that I've heard and that I hear from teachers, from parents, from librarians is like turning non-readers or non-horror readers into horror readers. The idea that like, oh, I have, a niece or a nephew or a son or a daughter who likes reading or doesn't like reading, who is big into like fantasy and sci-fi and stuff like that, and they read The First Clown in the Cornfield, and now all they read is horror. They just love horror. Horror is now their favorite genre. That feels like there's no mistaking the fact that this is called the Church of Frendo. There's a religious element to it, but I feel a religious fervor towards the horror genre. Look at this. Look at my office. Look at how insane outwardly it would seem. It's one of my great pursuits in life to spread the gospel about horror fiction and horror cinema, and the idea that I can get younger people into our genre is one of the great gifts. It's like kind of like one of the best things that I've done with my life, and it makes me very proud. It's funny because I was a teacher for 5 years, and that's a very gratifying job. You feel really good when you help a kid like get into college, or even just connect with like reading, or connect with a book, or connect, or like be better at communicating and articulating their ideas, even if they're not like an English kid. But I still think getting kids to buy books where characters get beheaded and then trip over their own severed heads is more of a win for me, more of a cultural win. I've read 4 of your books, and I'm definitely going to read more. Support from Sweden. Thank you. Kane, am I saying that right? Thank you so much. Anna says, I'm so stoked for book 3. And Jay is finding this out for the first time. There's a book 3. I don't even know. There's a lot of exclamation points and a lot of question marks there. They may not be happy there's a book 3, but I hope you're happy. I hope you check it out. It comes out in 10 days. Even though I'm holding it right now, this is not available right now. You gotta go. You gotta go pre-order it. It would help me out so much. Tell your local bookstore to carry it. Go to your local Barnes & Noble. They'll have it. Yep, The First Clown in the Cornfield book, along others, got me into horror books, said Kane from Sweden. I really appreciate that. That is like, it's really cool. It's a really neat thing. Thank you so much. Wait, what did you teach and at what level? I was in 11th and 12th grade high school English teacher, and I taught the AP classes, the advanced classes that they had, those silly tests at the end the College Board does. What is the most terrifying movie you've ever seen? Truly scary. That is the most subjective thing. That is like, because also things hit us like differently at like different times. Like if I were to say like when I was like a 7-year-old, I had seen Halloween by that point, and yeah, that scared me a lot. But The Secret of Nim was weirdly scarier. Let's think of like something that's actually scary and upsetting. Well, I'm recently a dad, so if you want a newer movie, go watch The Coffee Table. And but when I say go watch The Coffee Table, I mean really, really make sure you check that you're going to be okay after you watch The Coffee Table. It's harrowing and terrifying, and also weirdly a little bit funny. It's a Spanish film, just came out. I saw it last year at a film festival. I saw it last year at the Telluride Horror Show. I was up in the mountains, so I had altitude sickness, and I was watching a horrible, horrific bummer of a movie. I don't think I've ever been this excited for a book. Book 1 and 2 changed my life, Pitwitch says. Thank you so much, Pitwitch. You're just amazing. Sean Umbeck says, being from Southwest Missouri, I was pleased with the setting. It was relatable and added to the suspense. I hope I'm coming to you live outside of Philadelphia. I am not a Midwesterner. I feel akin to Midwesterners, and I have family that are from the Midwest, and I visited the Midwest. But it's good to hear that a person from Missouri wasn't like, get this guy out of here. I'm glad it worked for you, Sean. Any other good slasher book recommendations? Oh, I've got so many. I've got it right here. This is going to be my default slasher book recommendation now. From now on, it used to be different stuff, but this is. I think this is the perfect book to start Stephen Graham Jones with too, because his work he's my favorite living writer. But I think the question was, what is another good slasher book? This just came out. It's called I Was a Teenage Slasher. It's by Stephen Graham Jones. It's unbelievable. It's so good. And it's kind of a bonus because it's a slasher story, but it's also kind of a werewolf story. It's structured like a werewolf story. It's this idea that what if you could catch being a slasher? Like, what if slasher was like a communicable disease and you became a slasher against your will? It's amazing. It's great. I love this book. You are literally my favorite author. No joke. I love your book so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bob. Bob, the car insurance man, said that. Thank you. I read Headless based on your recommendation and loved it. I wish I had my copy of Headless here. Headless by Scott Cole. Write that down, chat. Headless by Scott Cole. Great book. If you like Bizarro stuff, if you want to get into this more splattery side of the genre, but you want to kind of just start with it, I think a lot of splatterpunk books are kind of toss you to the deep end. I think Headless by Scott Cole would be a good gateway drug to splatterpunk. Is My Heart is a Chainsaw author? Yes. Stephen Graham Jones wrote the My Heart is a Chainsaw, the Jade Daniels trilogy, which I think is great, but it is a trilogy, so I wouldn't recommend it. That's why I'm recommending this one as to kind of start people out with Stephen Graham Jones. Because to read My Heart is a Chainsaw, you kind of should and have to read the other two books, and they're amazing. They're some of the best. Yeah, he wrote a werewolf book called Mongrels. He's written a dozen. I mean, he's written dozens and dozens of books. One of my favorite books of his is called Demon Theory. It's another slasher. It's great. Adam, get Jesus Kid? No, get Clown of the Cornfield 3, The Church of Frendo. Will you ever come to Germany for a book tour? I would love to get my copy signed. Hey, if you want to see me in a different country, bother my publishers. My publisher over in Germany is Festa. They put out the first Clown of the Cornfield book. I would love to come. All right, we've been neglecting this chat. Let's see. Come to LA, do a special Q&A screening of Last Nights at Terrace Lanes. Wee! Congrats on all the success. Big fan of your work. Yes. It's got a ton of glare on it, but I have a poster up for a movie I wrote called Last Night at Terrace Lanes. It was directed by Jamie Nash. Great little movie about a cult taking over a bowling alley that we shot in a real bowling alley for like no money. It's a fun little low budget movie. Do you still go to the Scares That Care convention? Asked River. Yes, I go to the Scares That Care AuthorCon. They've stopped doing the Scares That Care weekend. Is not the Scares That Care weekend anymore. They just do the AuthorCons. That's every when is it? Is it July? It's the beginning of the summer, or maybe I'm wrong. Someone put down in the chat when the Scares That Care AuthorCon is. But I go to that every year. It's down in Williamsburg, Virginia. Scares That Care is a charity convention. They do a lot of support. They usually pick 3 separate recipients who are really in need, and then they give them a check at the end of the weekend, and they raise a bunch of money. It's really great. It's a nice convention, and I think I'm going to be I don't think it's been announced yet. Brian Keene's involved with programming that. And I think I'm going to be a special guest this year. So I'm always there. I'm always, where all the tables are the same. So I don't know that it 100% matters that I'm a special guest, but it's very nice. Someone's ringing the doorbell. I'm guessing it's mail. Hoping it's mail. The horror genre has often been dismissed as a second-class genre. Do you think that has changed recently? I talked about this yesterday on I've been doing streams somewhat regularly to promote books. I do think at least publishing's attitude um, towards horror has changed, and for the better. I think it was always a very vibrant genre in the small press and in the indie presses, and it was always valid and great. But I think recently, I think with books like this, I mean, this is like Saga. This is like a big Simon and Schuster book. This is like a big frontlist book for them. Stephen Graham Jones. I think authors like Stephen Graham Jones, authors like Eric LaRocca, authors like Rachel Harrison. They've really changed. Authors like C.J. Lead, who did Maeve Fly and the upcoming American Rapture, have kind of changed publishing's tune as far as is horror saleable, which is great because we're living in a kind of golden age of horror, and it benefits me too. Even though I'm over in the young adult section of the bookstore, it benefits me too. Gore Horror Author says, I'm grabbing Clown next time I'm in Barnes & Noble. Make sure you go to the young adult section. That's where it is. Please get it. Barnes & Noble only has the paperback editions of these. It's kind of once a paperback comes out, they kind of stop stocking the hardcovers, but the hardcover's still in print. You can still get it if you want your Clown 1 and 2 to match your Clown 3. You can still find them online. You just can't really walk into a store and buy them. Is there a way for your readers in Europe to get signed editions of your book? There is, and it's only really for the next week. You got to go to the Doylestown bookstore, the local bookstore that does these for me, sends out signed copies. Children's Book World does not do international shipping. I think it would just be too tough for them. But I'm signing at Doylestown Bookshop in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, a week and a half from now. If you go to their website, they will do international shipping and they estimate the shipping. So they put in like some wild estimate for how much it's going to cost. And it's like, seems like it's going to be way too much, but then they'll adjust it after you order, and they'll refund you the difference. But if you don't want to like risk it, if you don't want to pay a bunch of money for shipping, you could send them an email, send Doylestown Bookshop an email, just give them your address, let them know where you want it and what books you're going to want. And they'll, before you even do the transaction, they'll tell you how much shipping is going to be. So not great, not the best way in the world to get signed editions. But if you're over in Europe, if you're over in the UK, if you're anywhere else in the world, if you're in Canada, Doylestown Bookshop can do international shipping. All right, let's answer a non-self-promotional question. Clay asked, do you ever get stuck writing a chapter? If so, what tips do you have for an aspiring writer to power through blocks? I always write what's interesting to me that day. I sit down and I write what's interesting to me that day. Sometimes that means skipping around in the story. And with the Clown and the Cornfield books, that's actually very easy because they are third person, and the POV kind of varies chapter to chapter. So if I don't want to write a Quinn chapter, I could write a Russ chapter, or I could write a Glenn chapter. That helps. That's easy. But a lot of books you can't do that with because, say for example, Influencer, or it's not as easy to do that with some projects. Influencer, first person present tense. It has two POVs in it, but they switch. They're fixed POVs. It's Aaron and then Crystal, and you switch back and forth. A little bit harder to do that, but I would just say write what excites you on that day. That would be my tip. And while I'm talking about Influencer, this comes out October 1st. This was a Audible original. If you've already listened to it, it comes free with your Audible subscription. Christopher Briney and Isabella Merced, who's going to be an alien Romulus, which I'm seeing next week. Excited for. She does half the narration, and Christopher Briney does the other half. But if you're a paperback person, if you want to read it in paper, it comes out in paper October 1st. Speaking of Stephen Graham Jones, he gave this book a cherry blurb, really nice blurb. Keynes asked, is there a book or movie that got you into slashers or horror from the very beginning? It's not a super deep cut, but I got the Blockbuster free giveaway version of Halloween, or maybe not free, but it was deeply discounted. If you made a purchase, if you purchased popcorn, they gave you the Halloween tape for like $4.99, I think. And that was the movie that got me into slashers. That was the movie got me into horror in a lot of ways. I watched it. I was very young, and I just watched that tape through. I switched off from watching Batman and Jaws, the Tim Burton Batman and Jaws, on a repeat, to watching Halloween on repeat. That was kind of the origin story for at least slashers. Aaron Dry says he's got to go to bed, my man. Enjoy the crazy clown I had just delivered to your front door. Ding dong. Oh, you did hear that. That was a killer clown ringing the doorbell. Good night, Aaron. Hey, Adam, I am about 3/4 of the way through number 2 and really enjoying the story so far. Yeah, I love. Thank you so much. I think book 2 is better than book 1. I know that is not an opinion held by every one of my readers, but I have a little bit more affinity for it. It's set on Halloween. It's got a cool way into a lot of the slasher stuff. I think a lot of the relationships are more solidified in this book. So I just enjoy it. I enjoy the hanging out with the characters in 2, and then doing really bad things to them. And then in 3 goes, I don't want to spoil it, but it goes a little different. Josh says those Blockbuster Presents VHS tapes are cool. Yeah, I only had Halloween. I don't know what other ones they did in that series. I can't imagine they did they were like, your only the only way we let you get a cheap tape is you have to get this R-rated horror movie. Favorite 80s, 90s horror author? That's a tough one because a lot of them persist, and a lot of them are still writing books. I like Thomas Tessier. I like all the original Splatterpunks. I like the Skip Inspector books. This is an easy one. We'll say Jack Ketchum. That's a very easy one, because I think that was his most prolific period for sure. Yeah, Jack Ketchum. I have pretty much every, with the exception of one or two novellas, I have pretty much every Ketchum book in print, and they're all signed by Ketchum. So that's my fandom. That's my deep cut fandom. Now, I understand he's not an author for everyone. I am teen author Adam Caesar, and I'm not saying that every child and teen person should go read Jack Ketchum books. But if you are old enough and you enjoy that kind of stuff, I'm a very big Jack Ketchum fan. River says that they've always wanted to go. I don't know, River. I've always wanted to go. Maybe see you there. Totally right. Great cause for that scares convention. If you're at all within, I drive every year. It's like a 6 or 7 hour drive from where I live to get to Scares at Care. It's worth it. It's worth the drive. Go on down. Tidmore asks, is book 3 out? And Josh swooped in there with the answer. No, it's 9 days. 9 days until it's out on the 20th. Some stores are going to put it out on the shelf a little early. Try to resist the urge, because I feel like it. I do truly feel like it's. Some people have had it pre-ordered for so long, and when bookstores do that, usually it's a lot of Barnes and Nobles put it out a little early. Kind of bums me out because it's like, people have been waiting, 9 months to a year. They've had their pre-orders. I want them to kind of get it first. Aaron asked a spoilery question about 2 characters and how they joined a certain plot. I will say there was a longer version of the first Clown in the Cornfield book. There are certain characters that switch sides that are kind of turncoats or revealed to be turncoats, and I get questions all the time about how they switched. There was a original longer draft where you got a little bit of backstory about their allegiances and what they think they can get out of the town and what they want Kettle Springs to be. And I think it's still there. There's still hints of that. So however you're imagining they turn traitor, you're probably right. Can you tell us how much time has passed from book 2 to book 3? I think that's a difficult question to answer, Michael, because I think I have a little timeline. I have a little cheat sheet on my computer that's like a timeline. I think it's maybe like 9 months from the last chapter, but like a full year or less than a little less than a full year. No, it's like a full year from the last chapter and like 9 months from not it's 8 or 9 months um from the epilogue because the epilogue has a time jump too. Um, about a year. They're roughly about a year separated. Which means that the Clown and the Cornfield books are slowly, because they come out every 2 years, they're slowly like becoming period pieces because they're slowly becoming back in time. Dude, love the books. I floss through them. Keep up the good work. Cannot wait for the new release. Thank you so much, DJ Changer. Just make sure, everyone, that you have it pre-ordered. Go pre-order it if you can. I'm trying to check how long we've been doing this. This is fun. Let's do a so let's answer a let's do another movie recommendation. Anyone, what kind of movies do y'all like? What kind of movies are you in the mood for? I will recommend you a good horror movie. Just don't ask for romantic comedies because I'm not super good with those. There's not a whole lot of those back there, but I can pull something off the shelves and recommend you a book. We're gonna see. We got two streams competing to see who's gonna ask the question first. Kane asks, is the new book set in Kettle Springs? Well, part of 2 is set in Philadelphia, and 3 is set. I'm not gonna tell you. 3 is set in a secret, possibly Kettle Springs, partly in Kettle Springs. I can answer that. It's partly in Kettle Springs. What's a book that got you into the horror genre? There's books that got me into reading horror as a kid, and those were all kind of the typical things if you were growing up in the 90s that got a lot of people into horror. Usually R.L. Stine, usually Goosebumps. But I've got a more interesting answer for you. The book that got me into horror in a professional capacity, a book that kind of I read it and it like screwed my head up, and I was like, wow, I love this. I would love to be able to do what this author does. Is The Drive-In by Joe Lansdale. The Drive-In is one of my favorite books, if not my all-time favorite book, and I think it inspired me in such a deep way that it like changed the trajectory of my life, because I was basically like, okay, let's just do that's what I'm going to do now with my life. I'm going to try to be half as good, a quarter as good as Joe Lansdale's Drive-In, and that's the book. That's a good jumping off point for all of his work, and for the genre in general. I love that. Josh asks, heist movie. The best heist movie. The heist is a footnote in. The best heist movie is like, let's see if I have it here. I think I only have the DVD. I don't know that I have the Blu-ray, so I think it's downstairs. The best heist movie is I think of the bank robbery scene in The Friends of Eddie Coyle. I don't think Josh maybe only halfway asked this seriously, because I did ask for horror movie recommendations. But if you have not seen The Friends of Eddie Coyle, unbelievable movie. It's just the best. Hardcore Henry asks, ghost story film recommendation. I recommended one yesterday on the stream. It was the British film from 2007 called Ghost Stories, which I really love. Really fun movie. But let me think of a different one. It's kind of the genre that I'm like not least into, but I'm like least well versed in. You seen The Changeling? Starring oh my god, how am I blanking on his name? He's in Hardcore. Oh my god, he's in Doctor Strangelove. Well, if you've seen The Changeling, someone down in the chat will be like, "It's this actor, you goober." All right, let's open up another window. It's killing me. It's absolutely killing me. Changeling, 1980. George C. Scott. Oh my God, George C. Scott. Yes, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. The Changeling star George C. Scott. Probably one of the all-time great ghost movies. Really doesn't get as much play these days. I saw it last time I saw it. I've seen it multiple times. The last time I saw it, I had the distinct pleasure of seeing it projected. I saw it during there's a group here in Philadelphia and outside of Philadelphia that does a 24-hour horror movie marathon called the Horrorthon. And you buy your ticket and you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're going to see. You just know you're seeing 24 hours of movies, which is generally around like 11, 12, 13 movies. Um, and they played The Changeling like maybe third or fourth movie in, because they play a lot of goofy stuff too. And then they played like this like really serious, like really great horror movie, and it just killed. It's just so good. Ashley says that movie is great. The rubber ball scene definitely sticks out. Yeah, for sure. Coming down the stairs, that is a very, very iconic scare. All right. Got time for a little bit more. I think I keep losing connection. I have unstable connection on it over here. This one I got perfect connection. What is the deal? Um Adam S asks, when did you realize your passion for writing for horror? I don't I hope Adam's still here because that question was a little while ago. When did I realize my passion for writing and for horror? I always knew. I kind of always knew I was going to be a writer. I went to school. I went to college for film school, and I majored in screenwriting. And screenwriting is such a particular kind of writing. It's such a I love movies, but there's something about the way that they're made and the compared to prose and compared to publishing that I didn't love as much. And I just during college I started dabbling with prose fiction and getting into. I've always been a huge reader. I've always read a lot, and it kind of was staring me right in the face. That was like, no, I'm not a screenwriter, even though I have like 3 or 4 screen credits on IMDb. I've written screenplays, but they've just been like I've like accidentally written screenplays. I've like accidentally chanced into getting to make movies. Speaking of which, next week in 2 weeks, Ghost Game by Jill Gisvargian, who directed this movie. She directed this movie, The Stylist. It's her second film. Is a film I wrote called Ghost Game. But if you haven't seen The Stylist, that's a recommendation. Go see The Stylist. It's really good. And then if you like that, you'll like her next movie, Ghost Game, which isn't out yet. It's gonna be coming out after it does its festival tour. I played a bunch of festivals. I even went out to one. I went to Chattanooga Film Festival and was there with the stars. Was there with Jill, and we watched the movie, answered some questions. It was great. Um, Michael asks, "Are they still going to make a movie of the first book?" They did. They already did. Not that it's out yet. It's in the can. I flew up. I watched them film some of it. So that's not a maybe. That is a definitely. They made a Cloud of the Cornfield movie. It's directed by Eli Craig, who did Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Really exciting stuff. I want to talk more about it, but I'm not allowed to. We're waiting a little while until like there's an actual promotional machine kind of in motion, and then I'm going to be allowed to talk about it. If I talked about it too much right now, a sniper's bullet would take me out. Jerry says, "Wait, there's a movie? Oh, it's so over for me." Yeah, I hope it's not over for you. I hope just hang on and see and wait to see the movie. River asks, favorite Vinegar Syndrome release. This is I just took off. This is my hoodie was a Vinegar Syndrome hoodie. So that is a perfect question. It's maybe not. This is such a hard thing because this is like hundreds of movies now you're asking me to choose from. Where is it? I'm looking for it. It's killer. I usually say my favorite Vinegar Syndrome release is Blood Hook, but I actually can't find Blood Hook right now. It's back there somewhere, and I don't alphabetize things. Blood Hook is great. It is a slasher set is a fishing-based slasher. Wonderful. And the original Troma release of it cut it down significantly. But this is the blood hook that Vinegar Syndrome releases, like the restored longer cut, and it's much better. This is The Corruption of Chris Miller. This is a quasi giallo. This is like not really a giallo, but kind of like a little bit more psychological than giallo usually are. This movie was a revelation the first time I saw it. I absolutely love this movie. So The Corruption of Chris Miller, we'll call that my favorite Vinegar Syndrome release, even though I have so many favorite Vinegar Syndrome releases. Doom Asylum is another incredible 80s slasher, says M.A. James. I like Doom Asylum plenty. It's so close to parody. There's like jokes that are like that undercut the slasherness of it. Like when the girl gets killed and then she gets put into this machine and then she comes out as like a cube. It's cool. I like it, but I don't love it because it's so silly. What are some favorite anthology books and films? Oh, you set me up. You set me up to be able to promote stuff. This is Bound in Blood. I'm in this anthology coming out soon. It's soon to be everyone's favorite anthology. It'll probably be like the most fun anyone ever has with a book. This is coming out through Titan, which is a UK based company, but they have US distribution as well. So this will be at your local Barnes and Noble. It's for sale online. I have one story in here. I made the cover, which is really cool. Like Eric LaRocca, Elizabeth Hand, A.G. Slatter, Charlie Higson, and Adam Caesar, and many more. And the many more are like unbelievable. There's a Nadia Bulkin story in here. There's a Kim Newman story in here. There's a Ramsey Campbell story in here. Just incredible company to be in. I'm really excited about this. All the stories are based around books or writers or publishing. That's why it's Bound in Blood. Like Books of Blood kind of allusion there. My story is about a fantasy and sci-fi writer who is forced through circumstance and economics to have to write an extreme horror book, and things go weird from there. Demon Twink 666 says just pre-ordered Clown in a Cornfield, can't wait. Clown in a Cornfield 3, can't wait. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who's pre-ordering. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Links in my bio to all the places that you can do that. Really, really, thank you. It helps out a lot. Like pre-orders, people like are always wondering like why the authors they follow are just hyping pre-orders or pushing this stuff. It's because like it helps you on so many fronts. It helps you with retailers because they see, oh, we should order more of that into our warehouse. We should have more of that on our shelves because it seems to be selling really well before the book comes out. Kind of after the book comes out, not that there's like not time to make those choices, but like it really happens in pre-orders. It happens like before stuff is on the shelves. It helps you with your publisher because your publisher is like, oh, look, this person's able to sell books. Because most of the time, one of the big like misconceptions about getting a publishing contract, especially like with like one of the big five, is like, oh, I've made it now. Look, they paid a bunch of money for this book. There's no way they wouldn't put promotional money or publicity money behind the book. They don't. They really don't. And it's not like your publisher doesn't help you. They do help you in a lot of ways, but promo is not one of them. You're kind of, unless you are one of these like front list authors that has proven New York Times bestseller, they do not give you the advertising money. You're kind of on your own to try to sell your own book. That's why I am like doing all this stuff. That's why I am so ever present, omnipresent on social media. It's because you kind of have to be. You have to try to sell your own books because no one's going to be a proponent for your book like you are, and no one knows your book like you do. So that's why pre-orders help so much, and that's why when like folks say that they pre-ordered the book, I just love on them because they're the best. Pre-order the audiobook. Can't wait to hear it. Brian Scott says, thank you, Brian. It is Jesse Valinsky who narrated the last two. Is back again. I relish the creative partnership that I have with Jessie. I think she does such an incredible job. I love Clown in the Cornfield. It was such a great read. Read both books and they didn't disappoint. Thank you so much. Third one is the best one. But third one is, just know this going into it. Third one is the weird one. Third one is, that's how I pitched it. to the publisher, and they got a little scared when I said that, but I was like, no, 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 don't worry, everyone's gonna love it. It is just weird though. Um, you to Pop Mofo says, I am impatiently waiting for my pre-order to arrive. Thank you so much. How long did you query before getting a deal? It's I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. This stuff takes so long that my agent wasn't even my agent. Like I bought my agent a beer like with 2 books, like and met him at a convention and like talked him up and sent him like 2 books before this. So it is a long road to hoe when you're doing this, when you're trying to sell books in a professional capacity. But my advice is always just keep working on stuff and keep producing even while you're waiting, while you're playing the waiting game. The waiting game can feel interminable, and it is interminable because publishing takes so freaking slow. Don't rest on your laurels. Don't sit there being like, oh, I wonder when there's going to be news. Just write the next thing, work on the next thing, and let all that try. And it's easier said than done, but let all that other stuff fall out of your head, like the idea of like how long, because the answer is always forever, and it always feels like forever too, and it feels less like forever if you're working on stuff. Just finished 2 last week. Do you know when the paperback will be out for 3? Usually about a year. 9 months to a year is how long the paperback takes to come out. But as I've said on the stream earlier, they're just because Barnes and Noble doesn't have the paperback editions doesn't mean that they're out of print. Amazon has them for like cheap. They're generally sometimes cheaper or just as cheap as the paperbacks. So if you're worried about this not matching your editions, you can find cheap editions of 1 and 2 in hardcover. How many pages is the new book? Dustin asks. I know that you're trying to say, like, is it longer than the other 2? Each book has gotten longer. I think this is 440 pages. I think Climb the Cornfield 2 was like 400 on the dot. So this one is the longest of the 3 by far. I've got sequel bloat. I've got sequel creep. I keep having too many ideas, and I keep putting them in longer and longer books. And it's funny because you'd think that was like a good thing, or you think a publisher would be like, oh, that's value. But you hear from publishers that they're like, paper's expensive, so stop writing books that are so long. Like they don't make you cut anything out, but they just kind of like ask you to be cognizant of like how much paper costs, which is such a weird thing. But the heck with them. This one costs a little bit more for them to produce because there's more pages in it. Oh. Rob Zilla just asked a really good question. He said, Dustin asks, any updates on the movie happening for the first book? Justin just joined us. I've answered this question a couple times. It's made. It's in the can. Eli Craig, who did Tucker and Dale versus Evil, shot it. I can't talk about it. I can't talk any more about it. There's going to be news very soon. I can't divulge any more than that, or the producers of the film will kill me. Rob Zilla asks, what is that set behind you that looks like cans? Has anyone seen these? This is Anchor Bay did these. They are the 6-pack of horror. They are 6 horror movies done like beer cans. This is back when we were a proper country. We had releases like this. Like this is an animal themed one. So you've got rats and you've got Zoltan, Hound of Dracula. And then you got the Black Cat and Slugs and Charlie Band's Parasite. It's just amazing. And then it's just six DVDs in there. And they got a little hand case. And then this one is like religious themed, like To the Devil a Daughter, The Church. There's a Paul Nassif movie in here, Curse of the Devil. And then it's funny because Hell Knight's the one here that's not religious themed. It has hell in the title, but it's just a slasher. It's at a costume party set in a mansion. So thanks for asking that question. I love talking about the fright packs. Ashley says, "Oh, awesome! I just bought the Slugs DVD. I love Slugs. I have the Blu-ray. I have the Arrow Blu-ray down there somewhere." Oh man, I'm missing questions. Rob says those are sick. I miss those special edition DVD sets. One of these fright packs. I remember just being at a con. I think I bought one of these, and then the other one I was at a Chiller Theater convention. I don't know. I must have just seemed extra pathetic, or I must have seemed extra nice because I was at the Anchor Bay table talking to this guy about like future releases and stuff like that. And I was like maybe like 12 or 13 when those came out. He just gave me the Animals Attack set. It endeared me to Anchor Bay forever. Michael asked, "Can we get it signed by you?" The movie? Do you mean the movie, the Clown in the Cornfield movie, or do you mean Last Night at Terrace Lanes, or do you mean Ghost Game? There is going to be a Ghost Game physical edition. Oh shit! I don't think I was supposed to say that. Never mind. I didn't say that. That's not something that's announced. Never mind. Let's move on. Michael says the clown movie. I don't know, man. We'll see. There's we have to like see about theatrical and stuff first. I'm sure there will be down the line. I'll find a way when we're probably talking, a year or so down the line. But once there's, a DVD or Blu-ray release, I'm sure I'll find a way. It'll be weird to have Children's Book World, who sells my signed Clown 3 editions, since they're not a movie store and since they are a kid's bookstore, to have them sending an R-rated movie through the mail might be weird. But we'll figure it out. We'll find a way to do that. Anchor Bay were kings at one point. They were. Nessie says, just pre-order Clown in the Cornfield 3. Hell yeah. Thank you. I wish we had like a bell to ring. Ding. That would be fun and cool, but we don't. Imagine I rang a bell. Imagine I just rang a bell for Nessie pre-ordering Clown in the Cornfield 3. Really appreciate it. Lincoln Thord says, most terrifying. Recently, I watched The Entity for the first time, and that one really spooked me pretty well. The Entity is a harrowing movie. It deals with some very heavy topics. It is definitely not for everyone, but Barbara Hershey stars in that movie. It is a great ghost story, great possession story, I guess you'd say. It is about a woman who is being physically assaulted by a ghost. That sounds strange. It's a little strange, but it was a big movie. It was like a big budget movie, not like a small little movie. It's really, really terrifying. And I think part of why it's so good is Barbara Hershey's performance. Rob Zilla says the ending of The Entity gets kind of wonky. It does. It turns into almost Ghostbusters 2 a little bit, but I still really like it. I still think it's great. I think I have the Entity DVD somewhere, but I also have but more interesting than the Entity DVD is I met Barbara Hershey and I had her sign a Blu-ray for me, and I didn't bring the Entity. I brought Martin Scorsese's Last Temptation of Christ because she plays Mary Magdalene in that movie. So Clown in the Cornfield 3 and Martin Scorsese's Last Temptation of Christ, signed by Barbara Hershey. That was at a Scares That Care. That was at a Scares That Care convention. I think that was the last one where they were having like film and TV celebrities. They'd had I have a rule when I go to cons and when I do autographs. I like getting autographs. I really enjoy it, but it's very expensive. So I have a rule that each con I go to, especially if I'm going in a professional capacity, I only get one person's autograph. So it was at that show, Shawnee Smith was there too from the Saw movies, and I figured she maybe does like a decent amount of conventions. So I didn't wait in Shawnee Smith's line. Barbara Hershey doesn't do a lot of conventions, so I got Barbara Hershey to sign that movie. Reign of Toad says, no way, I didn't realize there was a third. Love your first. Have not read Friendo Returns yet. It's Friendo Lives. It was almost Friendo Returns. We almost called it that. It's Friendo Lives. Thank you so much, Reign of Toads. I hope you check them out. This one's not out for another 9 days, but we're trying to get people to pre-order it right now. It's awesome. Whoa, Adam Live. That's something I didn't expect to see this morning. Yeah, I know. All right. Isn't that something? I enjoy it though. I didn't think I would like this for the longest time. I got like 16,000 followers on YouTube. I like cutting and pasting. I got like 14 on TikTok. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to go live. I'm not that kind of person. And then it turns out like in the last few days, I guess I am. I guess I really do enjoy it. Shane Book says, I love the first 2 books. Can't wait for the third. Thank you so much. Pre-order, pre-order, pre-order. If you haven't yet, it really helps me out. And there's links in my bio and my description to a store that will sell it to you signed. Hate Frothy says, you have Scream. I actually, a lot of my 4K discs I keep downstairs. I have Scream 1 and 2 in 4K. I've owned those movies every format there was. I remember having, I think there was a VHS. I think that was pre DVD. I had the VHS. And for the 4Ks, I only have 1 and 2. I don't even know that they did the other ones yet. And I'm sure they did 5 and 6. But 1 and 2 is all I need. Rust is my favorite character in the books. He's the man with a plan. Yeah, Rust is one of my favorite characters to write too, because he's so different than me. Rust is competent and cool. I am not. I'm more like Glenn Maybrook. I'm more like the dad. I have my character. Tabby Reed said the first one got taken into Target, and it kind of changed our whole release schedule, because when a book comes out, the publisher never really knows like what orders are going to come through until like the very week of release. But when this first book came out, it was 2020, so everything was kind of in lockdown still, and there weren't a lot of stuff in the stores. And Target took this book in as part of their Halloween end cap, as part of their like horror end cap, and the publisher wasn't expecting it. There were like supply chain issues. Harper Teen like just did not think that this book was going to be a Target, so they had to pull all the this is in 2020. This isn't now. There's plenty of copies of Clown in a Cornfield 3, but the first one they had to pull all the books because it was coming out a week later in the UK and all the and overseas. They had to pull all those books, put new dust jackets on them that didn't have the UK pricing on them, and send them to Target. And they just scrambled. They just had no like, and that meant like it was a great thing because the book was in Target and people were finding it that wouldn't have been able to find it. But it was bad for if you lived in the UK, because it meant like they canceled a bunch of pre-orders. It was a pain in the butt. It all worked out well in the end because everyone got their books, but it led to like different delays. So Target, they probably won't have this. If you're gonna set your alarm and go on August 20th to go get it at Target, you're probably not getting it. You should go to a Barnes and Noble; they'll definitely have it. And if you want to physically go to a place, go to a Barnes and Noble or go to a Books A Million. Books A Million has it too. So that's where you should go. And if you don't have either of those near you, buy it online, order it. There's a ton of questions coming here. I'm like missing them, so many. When the movie comes out, are they going to change the paperback cover? It's weird to say I hope so, because I love the covers. I love Matt Ryan Tobin is the artist that did these covers. But when that happens, when you see a paperback cover that has like the movie poster on it, it means the author's probably getting paid bank, because it means there's like a movie tie-in edition of the book, and it's like out in airports and stuff like that. So like, no, I don't want to lose like Matt Ryan Tobin's beautiful art. But know that it benefits me if there's a media tie-in edition of the book. What would you say is your inspiration for these books? Slashers in general. When I was drafting the first book, I watched probably like 150, 200 like slashers during the drafting process of the book. And it's a mix of stuff I had seen before, a mix of stuff I had never seen, and just going through. Someone had asked, I'll make this a two-for question, because someone had said slasher movies from the 80s that I maybe haven't seen. I'm trying to hit stuff I haven't seen. Check out Graduation Day. It's great. Graduation Day might even be like 79. Let's check. No, it's 81. So it is an 80s slasher. I love that movie. I think that is a great slasher. So like I was just kind of studying the structure of slashers, trying to figure out what parts to keep, what parts to throw out, and what parts to make modern, because this idea is not the idea of these books is not like, oh, let's do a throwback slasher and just do 80s stuff. Let's do a slasher that's very much now. Like, what are teens afraid of now? What is a teen going to care about now? Teens are not so much worried about getting stabbed while they're babysitting. They are more worried about like stuff like lockdown drills and active shooter drills and stuff like that. It's like it's scary stuff. It's a scary world, and it's very different for a teen than it was in the 70s. These books are, and they've morphed and changed. And as I mentioned earlier in the stream, book 3 is changing it again because it's kind of a folk horror book. But we'll talk about that once you guys have seen it, once you guys have read it. I pre-ordered mine from my local small bookshop in North England. Thank you, Gray. Thank you so much. If you can support indies, if you could support local small shops, please do. The Prowler doesn't get enough slasher love, and Slaughter High too. I love the Prowler. Prowler is mean. I hope Blue Underground. I hope Blue Underground still has the rights to the Prowler because they did the previous DVD and I think maybe the previous Blu-ray, but their 4K editions have been out of pocket. They've been so good, and I really, really, really want a 4K of the Prowler because it's such a grody looking movie. It's such a dark looking movie, but I think it'd really pop with that 4K, like Dolby Vision, like highlights, HDR highlights. Oh, Charlie says, I live in England. Where would I be able to get a copy of the third book? Yeah, any of your retailers. Your local bookstore should be able to order it in. I think Waterstones has it. I think they're taking it in. I think it comes out. I might be wrong. Some a UK person should correct me. I think it comes out a week later than it comes out here. I think it comes out like beginning of September in the UK. Like I don't think you have the same street date as us. Ecto Coolest, which is a very good name. That's actually a very, very good name. Asks, was Clown always going to be a trilogy, or did that come naturally working on each story? I've told this story before, but no, there was never going to be a sequel to Clown in a Cornfield. It was not written that way. It has an ending that's kind of open-ended that makes people think that I'm like setting up a sequel or leaving it on a cliffhanger. That's not what I intended. To me, that was just the way that slashers ended. That's just kind of the part and parcel with the story, with the way these go. So I never intended for this to be a trilogy. I never intended for it to be a series. We're calling it a trilogy because there's 3 books and because some of HarperCollins' marketing is talking about it as it's a trilogy. I want to do a part 4. I want to do Clown in the Cornfield 4. This is a trilogy in a way because for some of our characters, for one of our characters in particular, this is very much the end. This is the trilogy for them. But I have a really good idea for part 4. And that's kind of what I love about slashers is that idea, that resiliency to stopping, that never say final chapter mentality that slashers have, because you can always kind of do something interesting with the format and push the storytelling in a weird way. So this is a trilogy, but it's not the end of the trilogy, if that makes sense. Has anyone ever asked you for a weird or creepy autograph? I've gotten a few of those, but who knows? The people might be watching that ask for a weird or creepy autograph. I sign it when you ask for these books personalized and you ask for them to be signed in a certain way. I sign it that way no matter what. I sign what you asked me to sign no matter what. I've never refused one. I did have one, and I hope this person isn't watching because I don't want to embarrass them. But you know, it's possible they're watching. I did sign one as a breakup. I signed a book that when the orders come in to Children's Book World, there's like a little box to say personalization, and I think that has like a cap of 100 to 200 characters you can type in, and then there's like an about section or notes section where you can send more information to a store. And this person had wanted the inclusion of a note that was like kind of like take me back, kind of like, I understand that we ended on rough times. It was this really like sad story that I was like getting to read that I like didn't think, they probably didn't want me like seeing that like what this book was for, to try to win this person back. I wish they're nothing but well, and I hope the person that got the book, even if they're still remaining broken up with the guy, I hope they enjoyed Clown in the Cornfield. So that's not really a creepy one, not really a weird one, but it was a little out of the ordinary. They should put it in Target and Walmart this year. Yeah, I agree with you, Michael. It would be great. I agree, but I don't know that that's happening. So if you want it day one, and you're not going to pre-order it online, go to a Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. Or if you're in Canada, Chapters Indigo. um, or if you're in the UK, Waterstones. It's crazy how you like learn every country's different bookstore brands when you're an author. Oh my god, 13 new messages. I'm so bad at keeping up with this stuff. River says, I just noticed my Clown of the Cornfield is a first edition. So cool. I remember getting it from Barnes and Noble. Yeah, those are kind of rare because like I said, they didn't do the largest print run on that first one. And we went into reprints, I'm pretty sure the first week that book came out. Harper did not intend on these books being a hit. And I think that's partly because in the Harper Teen offices, they're very focused on sci-fi. They're very focused on fantasy. That's kind of YA's bread and butter, and it very much was in 2020. Like now, things have changed a little bit, partly because these books are successful and the genre is growing a little bit. But you have a first edition. There's not a lot of those. They printed up however many books. They had to pull them immediately into Targets, and then they had to start reprinting books, which is a good problem to have, but still a problem. Would you come over to England and do meet and greet signings? Charlie says, yes, I would. I even have friends with bookstores over in England. I have friends that work at Forbidden Planet and stuff like that. I would love to. It's just a matter of economics. Harper's got to shell out some money to get me on a plane, and I would love to come over. Just a Goose says, I've been reading to read this. Damn, it looks so good. Yeah, they look really pretty together on a shelf, the trilogy here. Look at that. Matt Ryan Tobin's incredible covers. They just look so good. I need Rust and Cole to stay together. I can't cope. I hope you're okay, Gray. I hope you're okay with book 3. When writing sequels, do you reread the previous installments? I also have the first edition of number 1. Yeah, I kind of gotta. I reread them, and then there's a style guide that Harper keeps that has all the character names and has all the locations in the books, and it's just a document that keeps getting added to as I draft it. So it's like this longer and longer document. That's everything's getting more and more complex as we go, and as we open up to new locations, as we open up to new characters, it's getting harder and harder. As I think about now wanting to write a 4th book, I just realized that everything kind of gets a little bit crazier. Amir asks, any update on the movie adaptation? Yeah, it's in the can. They shot it. I actually went up and I saw them shooting a little bit of the movie. It was like one of the highlights of my career. I got to walk through downtown Kettle Springs, which was just dope. It was just awesome. The movie's directed by Eli Craig, who made Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which if you've seen that movie, it's awesome. And if you've read the Clown of Cornfield books, you're like, oh, that guy makes a lot of sense to be the guy adapting these books. So they made a movie of the first one. Can't really talk about it beyond that, other than to say that if I talked too much about it, the producers would have me assassinated. Do you have a favorite of the 3 Clown of the Cornfield books? Now it sounds corny, no pun intended. Pun intended. The third one's my favorite book. The third one is I like them in ascending order. I like the first one. It's my baby. You know, I love the first book. But I think 2 is very special. It's very big, very strange. And 3 is like a different beast entirely. And it feels more literary in a way, and you'll see what I mean when you read it. It's just, I feel so blessed that they let me get away with the stuff that they let me get away with in Clown of the Cornfield 3. So if you haven't pre-ordered it, Dalton of the Year, please pre-order it. Paul says, hey, Adam, how's it going? It's good. I'm talking myself hoarse, man. Question, if I bring the first 2, can you sign those as well? Stevie, I'm excited to see. Oh, Stevie says, I'm excited to see you in Brooklyn next week. Thank you so much, Stevie. And then says, if I bring the first 2, will you sign those as well? Yes. Any of my tour dates, it is Chicago, Houston, Boston, Brooklyn, New York, and Doylestown, PA. Any of those events, if you bring your own books from home, I will sign them. The only thing that I ask and that the stores ask is that you at least buy one book there. Like you probably are going to buy your Clown of the Cornfield 3 there, but somehow if you like went to Barnes and Noble beforehand, you needed it like a day early. Don't just bring the one you bought from home. Buy a book at one of these stores. And that goes for, on these tour dates, I'm also on some of these tour dates. In the Brooklyn one especially, I'm there with Clay McLeod Chapman. You don't have to buy one of my books. If you just buy like one of Clay's books, then you bring your other ones from home, I'll sign them for you. I'll sign all day. I'll sign anything. So that's a good question. No worries about that. In Boston, I'm going to be with Paul Tremblay, whose new book, Horror Movie, just came out. It's one of the best books. Not only one of the best books of the year, it might be one of the best books I've ever read. So it's wild to me that I'm talking to Paul Tremblay. Although I've known Paul for a very long time, I feel like I can call Paul my friend. It's still kind of absurd to me that like one of the best living writers is like my buddy, and we're going to do an event together. And then in Doylestown, PA, I've done an event with Lauren before, but I'm going to do another one with Lauren Forey to support her book, Gemma, which is a new book that just came out. She's more of a thriller, suspense writer, mystery writer. But if you like horror books, you will like her stuff. So just buy a book. Just buy a book at the bookstore, and you can come with as many books as you want. Stevie says, "Well, doesn't the ticket come with a signed copy?" Yeah, at Brooklyn it does. At Books Are Magic, when you buy a ticket to the thing, they have you buy a book. I think there's an option where you can just pay $5 or $10, and it becomes a gift card. So you don't have to buy the book to get a ticket to that one. I know you have a book tour for Clown 3. Will you have one for Influencer too? Asked Elise. Elise is the best. I don't think I'll have a book tour per se for Influencer. This is coming out through Union Square Publishing, Union Square Books, Union Square and Company. Sorry, I got their name wrong. It doesn't have this cover. It has a beautiful purple cover by Tomasz Majewski. Did a beautiful illustrated cover for this. It was not done in time for the ARCs, so they couldn't print them on the ARCs. This comes out October 1st. I'm not going to do a book tour, but because Union Square and Company is owned by Barnes & Noble, I'll probably be doing some Barnes & Noble appearances, at least in the tri-state area. Probably the most far north I'd go is probably New York, and the most far south is probably Virginia. So I'm not doing like a world tour for this one, but I'm going to be all around Hell and Creation for Clown in the Cornfield 3. Man, there's Michael says, I pre-ordered my book on your tour already, so see you in Houston. Thank you. Houston's gonna be great. That's at Murder by the Book. I heard they're a great store. Julie says, I loved Influencer. Thank you so much. Here's the thing. If you're like Julie and you've already listened to Influencer, if you've listened to the audiobook of Influencer, which is an Audible original, it's on Amazon. If you're an Audible subscriber, you're already paying for it. Just go listen to it. Well, actually, go listen to it if you can hang with horror stuff. It's really brutal and it's really mean. But Julie, if you loved Influencer, if you could do me a favor and go write a review on the paperback listing, since you already read the audiobook, helps me out a ton on Amazon. Amazon kind of like works on an algorithmic system. So the more people that review a book, the more people are talking about a book, the more they push it. So if you've already read Influencer or listened to the Influencer, it's the same version. It's the same book. There's a couple little extra chapters in here that are bonuses, but it's the same book. It has the same characters and ending and prose in it. Go review it if you've listened to it. N8B asks, when does 3 come out? It comes. Gibby says the cover for Influencer looks so good. It does. Go look it up because this cover is cool. I mean, it's a little minimal, but the purple cover that Tomas did is so good. 3 comes out in 9 days. 9 days and counting. We are, what is it? It's the 11th, right? It comes out the 20th. Comes out August 20th. Some stores as I said, are probably going to put it out on the shelves a little bit early, but try to hold on. Try to get it on the 20th. Pre-order if you can. It helps so much. If you want it signed, if you want a signed and personalized copy, there are links on my website. There are links in my description to a place called a store called Children's Book World. They're here in Haverford, PA. I drive out there once a week and I sign a stack of books and I personalize them. And they're doing signed pre-orders for Clown in the Cornfield 3. So this week I have to sign 200 copies of this book. I don't even know what 200 hardcover books is going to look like. I don't know how we're going to do that, but that's partly their problem to figure out. And then they're going to mail them all. Adrian asks, is the Clown in the Cornfield movie still happening? It's in a way, it's already happened. They already shot it. It's in the can. I was up on set. Eli Craig, director of Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I have not seen the movie yet because they just finished shooting, but it's I hear it's very good. The Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones are great slasher novels for people in the chat. Yes, I earlier in the stream, I promoted I Was a Teenage Slasher. If you don't feel like you can go all in on a trilogy, I would pick this one up first. I have a new starting with Stephen Graham Jones favorite when this book came out. I Was a Teenage Slasher. It's so good. Cameron Cheney, Library Macabre, go follow him on all social media platforms. He just said, hey, Adam, just one more week. Yeah, 9 days, baby. 9 days. Joel says, hey, Adam, big fan here. Just wanted to say I can't wait for book 3. Cheeky question is there still a plan for a movie adaptation of book 1? Joel, you might have, while you were typing that question, you might have heard the answer to that. Yes, it's in the can. Did you read the Europa Halls trilogy? I have not. Who's that by? I've heard that name before. I haven't. Does having your books / audiobooks in libraries help? Asked Elizabeth B. Boy, does it help. It helps a lot. If you want to read these books and you're not a book collector, you don't want to buy the books. I mean, buying the books is great. Helps me out. But go to your local library and request them. Talk to a librarian and say, I really want to read Clown in the Cornfield. They probably have it there for you, but they may not have the sequel. So ask. When libraries order my books in, it helps so much. It helps not only me, but it helps readers. It helps readers find me, find my stuff. I love libraries. Yeah, so yeah, get them in at the library. Gibby just said, just pre-ordered Influencer. Thank you so much. Yeah, like the clown books, Influencer is on the Children's Book World website. I can sign a copy of that for you, and they'll sell it to you. And it has a better cover. Just go look at the purple cover. It's so good. And if you're in the UK, it has a purple cover, but it's a different artist. The Thomas Majewski one I'm talking about is the US cover. This book is coming out through a separate publisher in the UK. It's coming out through Hachette. They did a different cover, which is still good. It's just different. Awesome. I love supporting authors and libraries. Yeah. Yes, in the can. It's been shot already. Yep. I was up on set. If I say any more than that, I can't believe they haven't found me yet. I can't believe the producers of the film haven't sent someone to break my fingers and toes. Favorite slasher movie or recommendation? We've already gone through a few on the channel. I talked about Slaughter High. I talked about Blood Hook. Let's talk about a more modern one. Have you guys seen All the Boys Love Mandy Lane? I really like that movie. Really, really like that movie. It was hard to see for a while. It had done like a bunch of like festival screenings and stuff in the US, but it didn't have a release for the longest time. I like that movie a lot. I'm not the biggest modern movie guy, but I like when they're good. They're good. High Tension, that's another one that I think gets lumped into the French New Wave, the French Extremity, the French New Extremity thing. When we talk about it, we don't talk about it as a slasher, but it 100% is. The farmhouse siege in High Tension is a huge influence on the first Clown in the Cornfield book. And anyone who's read it and seen that movie probably realizes. Gibby says 2024 horror movies don't get hit as good as the older and 2000s ones. I don't know. I love modern movies, and I love. We were just talking in the chat about Cuckoo. I loved Cuckoo. I liked Cuckoo a lot. I think it's great. I had qualms. I loved Longlegs though. I absolutely was feral for Longlegs. So I think there's really good stuff out there. And we just talked about Damien Rugna's right at the beginning of the chat. We talked about When Evil Lurks, which I think is pretty awesome, pretty wild movie. So if I pre-order influencers on a certain site, will it be signed? Yes. You got to go to the link in my description. On my link tree, it says signed books. If you click that, it'll bring you to the website of a store called Children's Book World. And it's like the top thing. It's even above, because they did it in release order. It's above Clown in the Cornfield 3. You'll see the cover for this, and I will sign it for you, Stevie. Ruined Podcast is doing a live show for Longlegs next week. I could talk about that movie all day. I feel like I've been favoring this stream. Let me go over here and answer a question. RPG1 says, as a horror movie and book fan, one of my faves has always been Michael Slade's Special X series. Have you read any Slade? No. I gotta add this to the list. Make a note. I think they saved the chat logs. So I'll look that up. I love the slasher book. There's Someone Inside Your House, but I didn't see the Netflix adaptation. Yeah, I read that book. I liked it. I haven't seen the movie either. I know the movie was by the director of Creep and Creep 2. I really like those movies. So I'm kind of interested in seeing it, but I just haven't got around to it. Something about when a movie is like streaming only, it's that idea of like it's whatever the opposite of false scarcity is. When a movie is only streaming, in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's on streaming forever. That's on Netflix forever. I feel no urge, no need to go watch it. So like movies like that somehow get memory hold. Even though I wanted to watch it, I just haven't, because I'm like, oh well, it's always there in case I want to. Any ideas for future books besides Clown 4? Julie asks, any ideas for future books besides Clown 4? Yes, I want to do a Clown 4, as I've said in the chat. It would be different. It would go beyond this trilogy, take things in a different direction. But I love vampires, and the book I'm writing right now and working on and trying to sell, me and my illustrious literary agent are trying to sell, is a vampire book. It's another teen book because I love writing YA, but it is probably, if you thought Influencer was like a little much, if you thought it was a little too violent, a little too mean, my vampire book's going to be worse than that. It's going to be a little more violent and a little more mean and a little more icky, because I love that stuff. That's my favorite. My favorite vampire stuff is the uneasy vampire stuff. How much creative influence control did you have with the clown cover art designs? That's a great question. I do get asked for like a cover like prompt. They have you fill out a little form like, what are some ideas that you'd like to see on the cover? But I don't want to take any credit away from Matt Ryan Tobin's art. Like this one, like I had very little influence and very little input on like what the cover for the first book should be. I was just I sent like a style sheet, which is like, here are the characters, here are the like what the book's about, the general vibe of it, and this is what came back, this gorgeous cover, which I think is the reason that we have a book 2 and 3 is Matt Ryan Tobin's cover. Beyond that, the Clive Barker blurb really helps too. But yeah, I had not a lot of influence on this one. On these two, on the sequels, I feel like we'd grown more of a little bit of a creative partnership. Like I'll message Matt and like talk to him about ideas. So the idea for like the Philadelphia skyline in the eyes of Frendo's mask in 2, that's me. I wanted 2 to be like a mask cover. I was like, well, let's, we see a stylized Frendo on this cover. Like, let's see, because we knew there was, movement on making a film version. I was like, let's beat the film guys to establishing what Frendo's mask looks like in people's minds. So let's do a mask one. And then 3 was like, what's the most ridiculous thing we can get away with? Can we put a dead body on the cover? Can we put, because if you see, there's like a halo of flies around his head, very deliberately an Alice Cooper Halo of Flies reference. And then the arms outstretched and stuff like that. This is something I never thought we would get away with. But Matt Ryan Tobin rendered it beautifully, and it's incredible. So that's Bryce asked, did you like Let the Right One In? The other day I was asked favorite movie of all time, and I answered that. So I love that movie. I have my answer to favorite movie of all time. I like to troll. I like never give the same answer twice. But I love that movie. Love that movie. I still haven't. I don't want to take anything away from it. I still haven't seen the American remake, which I hear is very good. I think I saw Let the Right One In either twice or 3 times in the theater. I took a date to see it. I was like, you got to see this. This is a beautiful movie. It like made me cry. I love that movie. Abby says those covers are chef's kiss. 10 out of 10. I've never agreed with anyone more, Abby. I agree with you so much. Cameron asks, any Halloween plans this year you are excited for? The last few years, Halloween has become like the busiest time of year for me. Last year I had an event every weekend day, not just every weekend, but I had every like the Saturday and Sunday of each month of Halloween. I had of each October month I had an event, and this year I don't have as many planned because that was brutal, and I want my Halloweens kind of back to myself a little bit and me and my family. So I don't have Halloween planned other than the fact that I'm gonna do some like haunted attractions and stuff. I'm gonna do some stuff I want to do. I'm gonna do um, we're by a lot of great haunted attractions here, right outside of Philadelphia in PA. There's the Bates Motel, which is maybe like the best haunted attraction I've ever been to outside of like Halloween Horror Nights. There's Field of Screams. There's a Penhurst Asylum. I'm gonna go to some haunted attractions. That's my plan. And if you've read Clown in a Cornfield 2, you know that I love this stuff. You know that I love haunts and haunted attractions. The editor, while I was done drafting Clown in a Cornfield 2, was kind of like, can we cut some of this minutia out about the haunted attraction in the book? And I was like, no, we're leaving it all in. I love that stuff. Anna Reed says, how did I not know there was a third? Because it hasn't out yet. It comes out in 9 days, Anna. Please pick it up. It's pre-order if you can. It helps us out so much. And by us, I mean me. And by us, I mean, I guess I mean HarperCollins too. I want them to do well too, but I'm kind of selfish here. I want me and my family to do well. So you should order it for me. Thoughts on Richard Lehman? Nothing but positive thoughts on Richard Lehman. He's not the kind of horror I write, but this is an interesting segue where I get to show off some fun stuff. Who asked this question? Roswell Dirtbike asks thoughts on Richard Lehman. I was actually asked to do an introduction for a Richard Lehman book. This is the German edition of Resurrection Dreams, and I wrote the introduction to the German edition of Resurrection Dreams. I was asked by Kelly Lehman, Richard Lehman's daughter, to do this. I never got to meet him, but I'm a fan through his work. Like I said, not the kind of stuff I write, but doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it greatly. Anna says, we'll definitely be ordering Love the first two. Thank you so much. And if you want it signed, there is a link in my bio in my link tree that says signed books. You click that and you get to Children's Book World, which is in Haverford, PA, is a local bookstore here. They will sign it. They will send it to you, and I'll sign it right to Anna. Churi89 says, see you in Chicago on the 20th. If any of you are going to the Chicago location, know that it's a little confusing because it's at the Horror House, which is a great store. They do T-shirts, they do merch, they do all the kinds of stuff for horror stuff, but they're not supplying the books. Bucket O' Blood, if you're a Chicago person, you probably know Bucket O' Blood. They are a great independent bookstore in Chicago Way. They are like 1 block away from the Horror House. So it's right down the street. Pre-order your book through Bucket of Blood. I have links on my website, just so Bucket of Blood knows how many books to bring to the event. So see you there. Anna says shipping will be a fortune to Scotland. Unfortunately, hopefully budget allows. Yeah, just then if you're not signed, they're really too expensive. Or they're, for most people, they're prohibitively expensive to send through the mail. Children's Book World is not even equipped to do it. Doylestown will send it to you overseas, but it's a bunch of money. So you can just imagine I signed it. I'll sign it through the mail right now. I'm psychically signing your copy, Anna. You can just pick it up at any bookstore. What is your book called? It's backwards on the screen and I can't make out the bottom line. This is Clown in the Cornfield 3, the Church of Frendo. I guess it doesn't help that I guess they are backwards. Oh no. But if you look up Clown in the Cornfield, the sequels will come up. Elise asks, what would you recommend for a first-time reader of your books to start with? The Clown in the Cornfield, because like I said, someone had asked before if it was intended as a trilogy or intended as multiple books. It wasn't. You can read the first Clown in the Cornfield book as on its own and just have a complete story. And like, if you're not incurious to what happens to these characters, you can stop right there. So that's my answer. Or Influencer. Influencer is probably a good introduction to my work, but Influencer is also a little bit mean. It's a little meaner than my books usually go. So I wouldn't want people getting the wrong impression. Influencer has I I put the influencer book down now and I can't find it, but it has a huge content warning in the front, which is something that I helped the publisher write it. And it's really none of my other books, even though they have blood and guts with them, I felt the need to put a content warning in, but this one has a pretty hefty one up front. Which would be better to support you, physically getting the book or on Kindle? Anything helps. I tell people the way that they want to read is the thing that I like best. It helps me a little bit more if you get the hardcover, because I think I make like a little bit more money on it, and it helps push us towards like reprints and stuff like that. So like marginally, it helps me more if you like hardcovers. If you like having a hardcover, grab the hardcover. It does marginally help me more, but not really. But that's a great question. Thank you, Abby. Everett Harmon asks, question, is it more young adult or adult? I want to know if it's gory or not. It's both. It's all answers to that question, Everett. It is published through Harper Teen. It is a teen book. But as anyone in the comments can tell you, it's plenty gory. They're making a movie of it. The movie is going to be R-rated. That's just the way it is. There's no way of filming this that isn't bloody and crazy. So I would say, just because something's teen doesn't mean it's watered down. It just means that it's about teen concerns and talking to teen readers. But plenty of adults read them. Plenty of adults love them, and they are bloody as heck. So if you don't like gore, if you don't want gore, I guess maybe stay away. But otherwise, yeah, have at it. I'm gonna move over to here. Average Adam says, my TBR is kind of long. My TBR is a whole room in my house. I understand, believe me. Tribesman and The Summer Job both sound interesting. Is there one you might recommend over the other? It's really a matter of what you're in the mood for. This is asking about my backlist books, The Summer Job, and good thing I'm equipped that I have all these books here. The Summer Job and Tribesman. Tribesman's a novella. Tribesman's a little short one. I would go Tribesman first. It's a cannibal ghost story. It is a Italian cannibal ghost story. Stuff like Cannibal Holocaust and like Make Them Die Slowly, stuff like that. But done in a more supernatural way. It's fun, and it's about making movies. So a slasher style book. Yeah, the Cloud in the Cornfield books are slashers. I've really written besides the sequels, I've written 2 slashers. I've written the Con Season, which is an adult slasher, and then these that are teen slashers. Oh my god, I really didn't know they were making a movie. That's congrats, and I'm a gore hound. So yeah, Everett, you'll be very happy. And some of the stuff I've seen for the movie, again, I'm not supposed to be talking about this movie, but I keep wound up doing it. A lot of the stuff I've seen from the movie is the gore stuff, and it's good. It's really good. It's really fun. Wait, you wrote these? Sasquatch 91 asks. Yes, I wrote these. These are my books. Please go buy them. And if you've read the first 2, you got to get book 3. The covers are sick. Yes, they are by Matt Ryan Tobin, an incredible artist. If you're following the horror news cycle at all, you've probably seen Matt Ryan Tobin's work recently. He's doing the covers to X, Pearl, and Maxine are getting novelizations, and he did the covers to those. They look beautiful. He's an incredible cover artist. My buddy Tim Wagner wrote those books. A24 is putting them out. Charlize says, amazing books got me into reading more. I appreciate that so much, Charlene. I like hearing that. I hope you like book 3. I hope you have book 3 pre-ordered, because pre-orders really, really help me. If you love 80s slashers, you will love this series. She Reads Horror says, I didn't pay her. I did not pay her. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm losing. Big Carolina asks, I read the first 2. Is the third one out yet? It is out in a scant 9 days. 9 days. Please pre-order it. If you don't pre-order it, it'll be down at your local Barnes & Noble on August 20th. August 20th. Julie says you could talk a bit about the movie We Won't Tell Promise. Well, there's 94 people in here and there's like 20 something over here. No, I can't. I really can't. Uh, will we get an influencer hardcover edition? Try as I might. I tried to convince the publisher. Union Square doesn't do as many hardcover originals. They didn't want to do one. I wish, but no, just the paperback. Never say never, but just the paperback for now. Shane says I pre-ordered months ago. Thank you so much, Shane. Do you have any more books that you've written? Yes, I've got a bunch in front of me, and I've got a bunch more. I've got Video Night, The Summer Job, Tribesman. Here, let me go grab them since we're doing this. Boy, I'm like flailing here. I'm exhausted. I don't know how these people that do this all the time, how the people who do lives all the time do this. Brittany says, highly recommend Video Night. Love the campy feel of it. Thank you very much. Video Night's kind of like a Night of the Creeps type thing. Kind of like an 80s splatter movie. Lots of critters running around. Exponential, giant monster road novel. 0 Lives Remaining. These are the novellas. This is a ghost story set at a video game arcade. And the first one you expect, which is my only book that's not really a horror book. It's kind of a crime book set in the world of horror. It is a very downbeat, fun little noir. Adam, you're missing comments. Yeah, man. There's a ton of comments. It's really hard. I have your signed copy of Clown in the Cornfield too. Thank you so much, Obs. What is Clown in the Cornfield about? Okay. The first book is about a young woman who moves with her father. She's from Philadelphia. She moves with him to the Midwest after they've suffered a tragedy. They move to a town called Kettle Springs, Missouri. She kind of starts falling in with the teenagers that live there. And then just as she's starting to get comfortable, a maniac in a clown mask starts killing her new friends. And then it gets a lot more complicated than that. It gets so complicated that we needed 3 books to tell it. But it is a classic style slasher, I would say, done in a modern way. People in the chat can vouch for it. Ash asks, is there a movie coming for Clown in the Cornfield? Yes, they shot it. It's coming. I don't know when, and I can't tell you even if I did know, I couldn't tell you. But Dalton of the Year says 0 Lives Remaining sounds interesting. We'll check it out. Yeah, I love that book. It's a fun little book. When I write supernatural stuff, they tend to be shorter. They tend to be the novella length. But I love video arcades. This is based in a kind of real one. This is based in around in New Hampshire. There's an arcade called Fun Spot in Laconia, New Hampshire. I did a fictionalized version of Fun Spot for this and set it there. Someone must have asked, when does book 3 come out? It is out in 9 days, August 20th. Did not know there was a third. When did that come out? It's not out yet. I have an early copy. I have an early hardcover copy. These are now in the storerooms of every Barnes & Noble and Books A Million across the country. Please go buy it August 20th. And if you can't wait for August 20th, please pre-order it. Pre-orders through Amazon help me out, but even more, if you want a signed copy, I have links in my description of a store called Children's Book World. They will sell you a signed copy through the mail. I'll even write your name in it. I'll draw a little friend of the clown mask. Yeah. Tips for writing. Daniel Sanchez S. My tips for writing are so general because writing is so particular to everyone who does it. What I would just say is don't consider your free time your writing time. Consider your writing time your writing time. Plan when you're going to sit down and write and try to get some work done. Even if it's just 15 minutes, even if it's just a half hour. I know we all have busy lives. Sit and try to get words on a page. That's what really helps me. And then you will have momentum and it will just keep going. And what you write, if you're just starting out, what you write at first may not, like the words that you get down on the page may not match the kind of images in your head and the ideas the level of ideas that you have. But don't worry, that stuff will come. Like, you will just get better at it. The first thing that you write, the first words that you put on a blank page is a first draft. That is not a publishable manuscript. You will rewrite it and make it better, and you'll come back to it in a few days and you'll reread it and you'll find ways to make it better. So just keep working. It's iterative. Burning and Tula says, is that a Svengoolie shirt? I must just met him at Flashback Weekend. Yeah, yes, it is. I'm a big Svengoolie fan. I wish I'd met him. I've never seen him at a show. What are you working on now? We talked earlier in the chat, but I'm working on a vampire book. It's going to be another teen book. It's going to be another YA book, but it's going to be brutally and meanly violent because I love vampire stuffs and I love vampires when they are gross and grody. And so that's what I'm doing now. Got your first 2 of your books at Barnes & Noble signed. Can't wait for the next one. Brittany Ann says, yeah, I drive around to the Barnes & Nobles near me in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware area, and I sign the books that they keep in stock just because it helps move them. It's nice. You go, you meet the bookseller, you shake a hand of a manager, and you say, nice to meet you. And then they put a little sticker on it that says signed, and that helps sell books. Wait a minute. When does the 3rd book drop? August 20th. This is an early copy. I'm holding an early copy. So please, August 20th, if you pre-order it, from Amazon, if you pre-order it from my local bookstore, Children's Book World, if you pre-order it from any of the tour spots I'm going to Chicago, Houston, Boston, Brooklyn, and Doylestown, PA. If you can pre-order it from any of those, they're all indie bookstores. The links are on my website. The links are in my link tree to these places that are having me out. I'd like to see you there. Alb says, I got the signed copy at the New Jersey Cherry Hill store. Yeah, New Jersey Cherry Hill has probably sold more copies of Clown in the Cornfield than any Barnes & Noble in the country. They sell them hand over fist, and every time I go in, they got like a bunch of copies for me to sign. How are the audiobook versions? Anyone know? Here, answer her question about the audiobook versions. I think they're great. Jesse Valinsky does a really good job, I think. Some people have varying degrees of love, and it's a personal preference thing. I think audiobooks. If you're going to be listening to someone talk for 10 hours, it's a personal preference thing. How random! I was looking at this on Amazon today. You should do it, Seb. You should add it to your cart. You should buy it. Get yourself a present. Every day, once a day, no matter when it is, get yourself a present. Alb says, are you doing a book tour in the New Jersey, PA area? Yes, Doylestown. I'll be in Doylestown, PA on Saturday the 24th. Please come. Please come see me. I'll be signing there with Lauren Forey. It's at noon. That's the only one that's not at night. So don't get confused if you're coming to the Doylestown one. It's not at night. It's not in the evening. It's at noon, 12 noon. Horror Movies and Shiz says, I can't wait for my copy. Already pre-ordered. Thank you so much. No, the new book is not called Vampire in a Cornfield. It has a dope title, but I can't tell you it. Just saw this live, and I did not know you were publishing a 3rd one. I'm so excited. Thank you, Olivia. Please go pre-order it. Help me out so much. Man, I'm doing terrible with keeping up with these questions because there's like a 15 billion. I've had it pre-ordered for 6 months. So excited. The first 2 helped me get it back into reading, says Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Are you coming anywhere near North Carolina? I am not. I'm sorry. Hopefully in 2025, I'll be going a little more south of here. I know I already have Alabama lined up, but not North Carolina. And no one's talked to me yet in North Carolina. So if you want a signed book, order it through the mail. So I want to come though. I'm legally blind. I listened to both novels. She's a good reader. A little high pitched though. It's an answer for the thing. And I think that high pitch just comes from like the teen reader. We need you to come to Kansas City, says Tristan Hill. I know. I want to sign the book set in Missouri, but I couldn't figure out a way to get to Kansas City on this tour. Sorry about that, Tristan. Oh my God, I just started this series last month and I am done with both, just waiting on the 3rd. Thank you, Lindsay. I hope you have it pre-ordered. What is this book about? They are slashers. They are small town slashers. They're brutal. They're fun. You'll love it. If you like things like Scream, imagine taking the metatextual element away from Scream. These characters don't think about horror movies. They don't act like they're in a horror movie. You take that away. That was kind of my one rule in writing the first Clown in the Cornfield book. I didn't want, because I love horror movies so much, because it's kind of an easy crutch to stand on, I didn't want to be self-referential. I didn't want characters being like, oh, this is like Slaughter High. I didn't want any characters like thinking they were in a slasher movie. That's why the characters are that way. I cheated a little bit in 2 because Jerry loves movies. She doesn't love horror movies, but she loves all movies. So I gave myself a little bit of an Avatar character in 2. But do you like Stranger Things, buddy? Honestly, the first 2 seasons I watched, I couldn't. I'm not a big movie. I'm not a big TV guy. I'm a big movie guy. I haven't kept up with it. I want to read your books, but I'm afraid of clowns. Am I gonna be okay? Asked Dominique. You are gonna be okay because the Clown in the Cornfield books, as much as mileage as they get out of the clown imagery on the covers, they're a guy in a clown mask. They're not really. No one's doing clown stuff. There's no like the killers aren't arriving in a clown car. There's no lapel flowers that squirt acid out of them. There's no clown stuff in it other than the fact that it's someone wearing a clown mask. So there's no even clown makeup. There's no grease paint in these books, except for in part 3. Part 3 has a, you know what? There's 100 something. There's well over 100 people here. We'll talk about it. Clown 3 has a little bit of a juggalo element in it. So that's the only grease paint there. Favorite book or movie behind you on your shelf? There are hundreds and hundreds of movies. There might be thousands of movies here. Favorite? That's impossible. We'll never land on a favorite. I've talked about Let the Right One In. I've talked about Dawn of the Dead. I've talked about Takeshi Miike's Audition. Let's do that one. Here, I'm going to grab it off the shelf. We'll talk about Audition. Audition. If you've not seen Audition, I am a teen writer. This is not a teen movie. If you are a young person, wait till you're older. But I love this movie, Audition. It's about a guy. He's a widower, and his buddy helps him set up a date with a young woman, and they do it in a kind of disingenuous style. They hold auditions for this guy's like new girlfriend, and he picks the wrong one. We'll say that. If you're going south, go to Austin. I know Austin and Houston aren't that close together, but I am going to Houston. I'm going to Houston. Murder by the Book. You should come. Bryce, drive up. I need to read these. I really love the first book. Yes. Even as a teen book, it was an awesome read. Yes. As I said, the teen distinction is more marketing than anything else. It's just telling you that we are dealing with teen characters and teen concerns. They are aimed at teen readers, but I was a teacher for 5 years. Teachers or kids, teenagers, I don't talk down to them. I think they are competent people, even if they may not be adults. They are competent people that don't deserve to be talked down to or have stuff watered down for them. These are violent, full-blooded slasher novels for a teen audience. Have you read How to Sell a Haunted House? I haven't. I have read all of Grady Hendrix's books up to How to Sell a Haunted House, and I want to read it. I just haven't. Did I do that? Did I fix the thing? I should have. Is it right way now? Have I been like an hour and a half backwards? How do you pronounce your last name? Is it like Julius Caesar or like it's like Caesar? Yes. Spelled Cesare, the Italian spelling of Caesar, but I pronounce it Adam Caesar. Besides the violence, is there other content mature language or other inappropriate things? It's yes. The teens speak like teenagers. So infer what you will from there. I haven't done an F word count, but there's a few of them in here. And he talks on adapting to film. They've already done it. Eli Craig, who did Tucker and Dale versus Evil, directed a movie based on the first book. I can't say anything more than that. I can't say anything about release date or release strategy or anything like that because I'm not allowed to. I can say that. I'm allowed to say that. Dalton of the Year says, I'm pushing 40 and I love the Clown in the Cornfield books. Wow. So plenty of adults read them. They're meant for everyone, even though they're meant a little bit more for teens. But the intended audience is teens, but they are meant for everyone. I am not a teen. I enjoy them. I'm reading your first book right now. Thank you so much. You got 2 more to go. You got 2 more to go. And this one's not out yet. I know some people are joining us and are saying, oh my God, is it out? It's not out yet. This is an early copy. I'm holding an early copy. It comes out the 20th, August 20th, 9 days. I saw your book at the store the other day. So cool. It's a trilogy. Hoping to get the books on audio. Yeah, the Audible editions are really good. I'm asking for middle school readers as a gift. I would say use your best judgment. I know plenty of readers who are in the 12, 13-year-old range that love them. It's a parent's choice, I think. Is the IMDb casting for Clown in the Cornfield the correct casting? I don't know. Sarah is sleeping says, you look familiar. Love your book. Thank you. You should get the other 2. You should get the sequels. Trying to read back the messages. You're coming in too fast. I can't do it. I'm really bad at this. Sorry to repeat, but movie night sequel? Oh, will there be a video night sequel? That was at the very, very beginning of the stream. And I said I had an idea for it. It would be called City Night, but I haven't done it yet. All depends on if this book ever starts kind of selling again. So if you like the book, recommend the book to your friends. Go review it on Amazon. Tell people that you like it. And maybe I'll write a sequel one day. It stands on its own. It wasn't ever written intending for there to be a sequel. But now that I'm like 15 years past when I wrote this book, I would love to revisit these characters. Do the second and third book follow the characters from the first one? Yes, you need to read them in order. They are not anthologies. They are not standalones. You will be really lost and you won't know the characters if you just start with book 3. You have to read the sequels as they go. They are not standalones. What was your first novel? Video night. I wrote this book before I could legally drink. It came out slightly after Tribesman, but that's just how publishing works. Tribesman, I did not write Tribesman first. Tribesman was the second book I wrote. This quick little novella, but Video Night was the first book I wrote. Anna says, I know for the second Cornfield book you did signed pre-orders. Are you doing that again? Yes. If you go to the link in my bio, there is a link tree. If you go to my website, it's just adamcaesar.com. There's a link to a store called Children's Book World. They do all my signed books through the mail. They are doing signed pre-orders for Clown 3. This week I have to go sign like 200 books at their store, which is going to take a little while, and then they're going to start shipping them out. So they hopefully will come. They will hopefully arrive right when the book comes out on or around August 20th. So if you want them signed and if you want them personalized, there's links on my website, Children's Book World in Haverford, PA. They will sell it to you signed. How is the first one? It's great. Bro, Clown in the Cornfield. Oh, I want to read that one. It's away. Meow Madon says, bro, Clown in the Cornfield got me through the winter. Thank you. Sending you positive energy. Thank you, Meow Madon. I'm trying to write a book for the first time. Do you have any advice? As I said to the last person asking writing advice, set aside time of your day to write. Doesn't have to be long. It has to be dedicated time. Don't just look at writing as like, oh, I do it in my free time. Make your free time your writing time, and to be like, okay, this is a half hour, this is an hour that I sit in the chair, and then I sit and I work on my craft. Sit down and write. What you write at first will not be what you want it to be. That's why you rewrite. That's why you revise. That's why you change things. Okay, I'm convinced purchasing the audios for myself and physicals for my husband for Summerween. Thank you so much. That is so kind. I just lost your I just lost you. Where are you? What was your name? Oh, JVEC. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Brother, great author. I own Video Night, physical and digital. Thank you so much. Video Night, my first book, my first little baby, my mean alien baby that burst out of me. We read Clown in the Cornfield for the book club I run, and everyone loved it. Thank you, Paula. You got to get them in on the sequels, too. Tell your book club I said hi. Patches Paper Cut says, hi, friend. Hey, friend, I really like your stuff. I really like your patches, so thank you. I just pre-ordered my copy on Amazon. I can't wait. Thank you, Chris. I hope you enjoy it. Comes out August 20th. It'll be at your door. Post about it. Put pictures of it online. Review it on Amazon, especially if you buy it on Amazon. Because if you buy it on Amazon, and then you review it, you get the little like verified review badge to let people know that you're for real and that you really read it and you really bought it. So thank you. Hi, handsome. Oh, thank you. If I'm that handsome, you should buy this book. Oh boy, I'm getting all mixed up now. What's a good book with a crazy plot twist? Rachel Harrison's The Return. I talk about that one all the time. Isn't there a movie coming out for Clown in the Cornfield? Yes, they already shot it. I went and I saw them do it. It's true. It's real. You've got to you got to get the sequels though. You got to read the book and you got to get the sequels. Don't just wait for the movies to come out, because then you get to sit in the parking lot and you get to be like, well, they changed this from the book, and they did. You get to be that kind of person. It's a true unfettered power when you read the books first before you go see the movie. You should do it. Marissa says, no way there's a third. Marissa, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm sorry if it's a bad thing. I'm sorry you hate me, but I hope you don't hate me. I hope you check it out. This comes out August 20th. It's brand new, not even out yet. This one's hot off the presses. Ooh, I can't even touch it. So hot. Chad says the director of Tucker and Dale. Oh my God, Adam, that's amazing. Yes, Eli Craig, who directed Tucker and Dale versus Evil, is directing the movie. He's incredible. He's such a nice guy too. If you like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, you could like it knowing that the director's a really nice guy. Did you write them? Yes, I wrote these. I've written a buttload of books, including the 3 Clown in the Cornfield books. Been doing this stuff for a long time. I know I look very youthful and handsome, but I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I love the promotion skills. Boy, am I running out of breath, but I can't leave now. Look, there's like 84, 81 people in here. As soon as I started saying how many people there were, they dropped off. All right. I am so excited. I love the last 2. Definitely going to have to get my hands on it. Thank you so much. The Grinning Moon says that if you, this is August 20th, it comes out. Please pre-order. It helps me out so much if you go to your favorite website of choice and pre-order it. If you want it signed, I can sign it through the mail for you. My friends at Children's Book World in Haverford, PA, sell them through the mail. Links in my description, links in my bio. I've seen your book recommended in a horror reading group. Thank you, Kimberly. Tell them I said thank you. Whoever you see recommending my books, I did not pay them. They are not paid advertising. But please tell them I say thanks, because I really appreciate you. Sorry to repeat their question, but if you haven't written a werewolf novel, do you think you will? I love werewolf stuff. It's hard. I wrote the only novel that I have that never got published. They call it a trunk novel. When you finish a book, or if you finish a partial, I actually didn't finish the whole book. I only finished half of it. Was a werewolf book. It was about werewolf bikers, actually. It was kind of like a generational trauma thing, because half of it was set in the 70s and half of it was set present day. It was like the Bike Riders meets The Howling. I couldn't sell it. It was the book that I was trying to get an agent with. I actually got my agent because of that book, even though he didn't like it. He didn't want to try to sell it. He was like, werewolves, I can't do anything with this. So maybe one day I will go back and write the rest of that book. I'm not even going to say what the name of it is because I don't want to jinx it. But I have like I have like 40, 50,000 words of a vampire book or of a werewolf book that just never sold. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. One day I will come back to that. When does the movie come out? My fiance and I read both books. We love them. Definitely getting the third book. Yes, thank you so much. Go pre-order now. It helps me out so much. If you don't want to pre-order, go to your Barnes & Noble bright and early on August 20th and go pick this up. We don't know when I can't tell you, and I don't know. If I knew, I couldn't tell you when the book comes out, or when the movie comes out. I just know that it's filmed. Know that if I could tell you things, I would. But the producers have been very strict with me in what I can say and what I should be saying about the movie. I can just say that it exists. That's really all I can say. Jazz says, love the first two. Didn't know there was a third coming out. I'm running to pre-order right now. Don't trip. Tripping's bad in slashers. But thank you for running to go pre-order it. I really, really appreciate you, Jazz. It helps me out so much. How difficult was the process of getting an agent? It is difficult. And I also know because I'm friends with a lot of writers. And when you go like out on submission and when you're like looking for agents, it's very, very difficult. And I'm very, very grateful to have mine because he is a great guy. And he's also someone I text a lot. It's good to have an agent. It's good to have someone you can truly annoy is one of the great things about having an agent. I'm typing with one hand. I'm typing a text with one hand. Oh God, there's a third one, says Billy Butcher's main bitch. I hope that's a good thing. I hope you like it. I hope you like that there's a third one. Please buy it. Even if you didn't like it. You know what would really stick it to me? Buy it and throw it in the garbage. Make a video of you throwing it in the garbage. Oh, that'd be so good. It'd be so good if there was like a get this filth out of my classroom kind of thing. I love that. Yes, it's on my to read. I absolutely cannot wait for the third. August 20th. You do not have to wait very long. You do not have to wait much longer. It is just 9 days away. Oh, hello. What's this about? I shouldn't assume people know. Third book in a slasher trilogy. If you like knives and you like sharp implements and you like them going into people, you will like the Clown of the Cornfield books. The third one is coming out. It's just just a few days, just 9 days. Yes, I cannot wait. Please pre-order. I've done this call to action several times, so everyone who's watching this like 2-hour stream is like, what the hell is he talking about? But know that there are new people coming in all the time. If you are interested in Clown of the Cornfield 3, The Church of Frendo, pre-order it. It helps me out so much. It is like the main way that publishers like decide they want to work with you again is if you can sell books. And the best time to sell books is before the book comes out. So this comes out in 9 days. Hi, is it a series or a standalone? No, they are not standalone. You need to read the first two. You need to read the first two books before you get Clown 3. Clown of the Cornfield 3, The Church of Frendo, Clown of the Cornfield 2, Frendo Lives, Clown of the Cornfield. They all connect. You got to read them. But please pre-order. If you want it signed, I will sign this to you through the mail. I'll sign it in your name. I'll draw a little Frendo sketch in there. The link's in my description to do that. So a children's bookstore called Children's Book World in Haverford, PA. Even though these aren't children's books, they're young adult books. They just are nice enough to mail stuff through the mail for me. Been needing some recommendations. Thanks, my guy. Thank you. Thank you, McSilly Fart. When people have good names, I like reading them out. Oh, sweet. I love the first one. Thank you. Y'all don't know then, you're missing out. Thank you. I like the hype people in the chat that will hype up the books. Someone asked Kindle Unlimited. No, they're not on Kindle Unlimited. But the Kindle books do occasionally go on sale. The books are put out through HarperCollins. They control the pricing. They control all that stuff. My other books are on Kindle Unlimited, though. My earlier books, Video Night, The Summer Job, Tribesman, you could read those on Kindle Unlimited. Clown in a Cornfield books, you got to cough up the funds, or you got to go to your local library and ask for them. Really helps me out when you do that. Go to the library and say, I want the Clown in the Cornfield books. I was unprepared for you to read mine and then tell me to throw it away. I'm kidding. I don't want you to throw it away. I want you to keep it. You can buy multiple copies if you want to film the throwing away video. You could. But if you want me to sign this through the mail for you, link in my bio to a website of a store here in Haverford, PA, who ships my stuff through the mail. Thanks for reminding me. I've been meaning to buy a signed copy for a while now. There is no better time. Holly says it's giving Stranger Things. And I know what you mean, because you mean this font. And Holly, I'm not picking on you because a lot of people have said this, but we stole this font from Stephen King. Stranger Things stole it from Stephen King. We're going to put some respect on Mr. King's name when we're stealing the font from his books. So I have the first book on my list. I can't wait to get to it when I can. I hope you enjoy it. I need to go back and reread the second book. Second book, you don't have to reread these. I've been hearing a lot of people be like, oh, I have to reread them or I need to get caught up. They are written in such a way that if you've read them, if you read it 2 years ago when it came out, this kind of gently reminds you of the events of book 2. It's not 100%. You don't have to remember every little thing that happens in each of the books. The books try to do a little bit of a job of reminding you, hey, I know you read this 2 years ago, but you might remember this character. You might remember this thing. They try to do that. I don't really put like previously ons, previously on Clown in the Cornfield in the front of these books, but I try to just build it into the storytelling itself. Chad says, I love the implications of book 3 given the end of book 2. Yes. Book 3 is a direct sequel. It is dealing with the ramifications of the decisions in the epilogue of book 2. If you were looking for that to be resolved, the entire book is that. But it's not like it's maybe not the answer that you want, if that makes sense. I try to do it in a way that like maybe subverts your expectations a little bit, but I hope you'll enjoy it. Someone just sent me a gift. They made something fly up around my head. What is that? I don't really know, but I love it. Thank you so much, Foxglove Alchemists. Thank God my memory's like a potato. Yeah, you have to read the first 2 books, but even if you read them a little while ago, you'll remember. Any idea when the movie drops? Even if I knew, I couldn't tell you. I'm not allowed to tell you. But they did film the movie. Eli Craig, who did Tucker and Dale versus Evil, did an adaptation of the first book. Spill the tea, Adam. Is there a 4th book planned? I would love to do one. This is my honest answer. I would love to do a 4th book. This is a trilogy of a kind. There's a very definite ending for some of the plot threads that started in book 1 in book 3. I have an idea for 4 though, and it would take things in a very different direction, and I would like to do it. So please, if you buy book 3, you're helping me tell the stories I want to tell. That's the answer. Marissa asks, what King books have you read? It would be easier to say what King books haven't I read. I read the bulk of Stephen King's bibliography. There are 3 of these, Corey Hall says. You got to get the 3rd one, man. The first one is on my Halloween library waitlist. Thank you. If you waitlist these at the libraries, you ask for these at your local libraries, it helps me out so much. Make it a series, man. It's a book series. You mean television series? I don't know. I like movies. They're making them as movies. I'd rather movies. Movies are better. Unless there's like a TV producer in the audience that wants to give me a bunch of money, then I love TV. But I like movies better. Why is bro a cutie patootie? I love that. Thank you. You should buy these books. Buy all these books. I only get cuter the more books you buy. Go grab them. Get them Barnes & Noble, Amazon, wherever, man. Go grab them. I'd love for you to be a guest on my show, The Hodgepodge. Over 1 million downloads. Send me an email. Send me an email. Send me an Instagram DM. I see all that stuff. We'll try to set it up. Just found book 1 on my husband's shelf. Can't believe he was holding out on me. Honestly, grounds for divorce. I don't know what you're doing with this guy. I'm kidding. He's probably great. He must be great if he's got the first book. All right, I'm going to go pre-order right now. Thank you. Oh, no, like book series, more than 3 books. Yes, I would love to do Climb the Cornfield 4. I have a great idea for it. I need to be promoting this book that comes out in 9 days, which is Climb the Cornfield 3, The Church of Frendo. So I hope you buy it. Do you have any advice for beginning horror authors? I've given the like just sit down and write advice a lot. So here's the other piece of advice: read a lot. The genre is so hopping right now. There's so much good stuff, and you wouldn't believe how many writers try to be writers without reading enough. So just constantly be reading, and don't just read like the new stuff that comes out. Like whatever the new hotness is. Read the kind of foundational text. Read stuff from the 90s, 80s. Go back to read all this stuff. Go back to like the turn of the century. Read it all. Read a lot, and you will be a better writer. These books are kind of like the Fear Street movies. Yes, I love the Fear Street movies because they were violent as hell. I really enjoyed those, and they very much have this. They had that young adult vibe really, really well. I think the first book was written before the first of those movies came out, but I really love those movies. So if you like, you know what, I'm going to use that as they're not supernatural. They're not like the Fear Street movies in that respect, but they have everything else going for them. Just pre-ordered. I can't wait to read it. Thank you, Green is Mean. Thank you. Pre-orders help so much. This is my favorite book series. We have them in my library, says Sophia. Thank you. Thank you for stocking them. Make sure you get book 3. Make sure your library orders book 3. All right. I know we've like sustained over 100 things, but I gotta get going soon. When do I have to get going? All right. Not me wanting to read this live will end so I can go back to reading. Yeah, you got to go. You got to go back to reading. Wait, there is 3. I just have the first one. You should get book 2. And then in a few days, you should pick up book 3. Yes, I pre-ordered this yesterday on Spamazon. Thank you so much. All right. I am going to go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Recommend some horror movies to watch in the evening. Go watch if you're okay with more intense stuff, go watch When Evil Lurks. It's on Shudder, which is on Amazon Prime. Go check it out. Thank you guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you so much. We're gonna wind down now. Bye guys. Bye everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please go get it. Go get Climb 3. Thank you. Midnight Freak just asked, got any of the Thing type books? Heck yeah, I do. Both of these would be Video Night and Exponential would scratch that itch. So go check those out. Bye, everyone.